Welcome to HOJO Radio. Our next popular broadcast aired from January 7th, 1941 to October 5th, 1952. It was created by producer Hyman Brown and based on the imprint given to the mystery novels of Simon & Schuster. In all, 526 episodes were broadcast. We proudly present to you Inner Sanctum.
Lipton Tea and Lipton Soup present Inner Sanctum Mysteries. Welcome to the shadowy borderland of the squeaking door, all you hardy adventurers. Into the land of the grisly, ghastly, gruesome, horrid, shocking, and monstrous. I mean, Inner Sanctum. Of course, I assume that we're all old friends here, but if by any chance there's a stranger among us, perhaps I should state the purpose for which we are here assembled. Our object is to make your spine tingle and your hair stand on end. That's right. When we're through, you'll discover that a fiend in need is a fiend indeed.
Heavens, you stop talking so scary, or folks will tune us off their radios.
Oh, Mary, I'm just trying to scare them into the chill, so they'll have to drink Lipton tea.
Well, that isn't necessary at all. For a great many years, people have been enjoying Lipton tea without any persuasion from you. That famous Lipton flavor has won the praise of tea experts all over the world. And you know, folks, these experts describe the Lipton flavor by saying that it's brisk. B-R-I-S-K. Now, brisk means that Lipton tea always tastes fresh and full-bodied. Yes, tangy and vigorous. Never flat or wishy-washy. That's why I always say you don't know how good tea can be till you know how good Lipton's is.
And now, friends, let's go from tea to terror. Yes, the title of tonight's story is Terror by Night. It's an original radio play by Emil Tepperman. Tell me, have you ever been alone with fear? Alone in the night and frightened? Well, here's Ann Shepard in the role of Linda Dixon to tell us what happened to her.
It was a Friday night, and I think I was already a little nervous as I drove north into the mountains. It was the first day of my vacation. I started from the city early enough to arrive before nightfall, but my car was 6 years old and developed motor trouble. So now I was driving through the night with 50 miles more to go, and I was tired and nervous and irritated. And then I heard that siren in the distance. At first I couldn't place it. And then I remembered the state prison was somewhere in the vicinity. The siren. That meant a prisoner had escaped. I reached over and turned on the radio. They were broadcasting an alarm.
I repeat, motorists are warned to be on the lookout for Lee Hartley, who escaped from the death cell at State Prison at 9:15 p.m. He is 5'10", dark-haired, regular features, no distinguishing marks. Hartley is a confirmed killer. He is believed to be armed. Beware of Hartley. He would rather kill than eat. I better give you that again.
He would rather kill than eat.
To be armed. Beware
And that man was loose.
kill than eat. It is known
I stared ahead at the lonely road spinning toward me through the windshield.
It has been established that Hartley was helped to escape from the outside by his sweetheart, Helen Hearn, a red-headed woman just as vicious as Hartley himself. It is thought that Hartley and the Hearn woman may have separated after the escape. All motorists are warned to beware of a dark-haired man and a red-haired woman, alone or together.
My hand was shaking a little as I turned off the radio. I looked in the car mirror and shivered. I, too, have red hair. There was a storm coming up, and I was driving into it. And the night was black, and I felt small and lonely and frightened in the car. Then I saw them in the mirror, the headlights sweeping up behind me. A car. It had come out of nowhere. It was pulling alongside, cutting me off. I cowered behind the wheel and then watched the door of that other car open. A man stepped out. Oh, I breathed a sigh of relief. It was a state trooper.
You guys going alone, miss?
Oh, yes, officer.
Sorry if I scared you. We're stopping all cars. Where are you heading for, miss?
Oh, I'm going up to Seven Lakes Hotel. That's near Carstairs. You see, I started out late from the city, and I'm having motor trouble.
Yeah, sure. Can I see your driver's license, please?
Yes, my driver's license, of course. Here, I've got it somewhere in my purse. I seem to be all fingers. It's that escaped prisoner, Hartley.
How'd you know about him?
Oh, well, I heard the prison siren. Then it came over the radio about Hartley and his red-haired girlfriend.
Say, you've got red hair, too.
Well, you don't think I'm that woman.
Find that license yet?
Well, I'm sure it's in here. So many... Oh, here, I've got it. Here's my license.
Thanks. What time did you say you left the city?
About 5 o'clock.
Took you a long time to get this far.
Well, I told you I had motor trouble.
Oh, I sure did. Okay, Miss Dixon, here's your license. You can go ahead.
Thank you. Oh, darn. There it goes again.
More motor trouble.
No, it's the same thing the mechanic said it might have. There it started.
You want to get that fixed first chance you get?
Yeah. It's late, though. All the service stations are closed.
Yeah, there's one that's open all night about 2 miles up the road.
Oh?
You better stop there. Bill Slater's place. He's a good mechanic.
Yeah.
He'll fix you up. Tell him Joe Nesbitt sent you.
Right, thanks, I will.
And listen, Miss Dixon.
Yeah.
You be careful. Don't stop to give anyone a lift, man nor woman.
Oh, don't worry, I won't. The night closed in on me again, but I didn't feel quite so nervous, knowing that the trooper was somewhere behind me on the road, and Bill Slater's service station ahead. In a few minutes, I saw the lights on the service station. I swung into the open space in front of the pumps. I stopped. There was a rumbling of thunder in the west. The storm was moving up fast. There was another car, a coupe, parked at the pump. But there wasn't anybody in it. And I didn't see any attendant around either. I pressed the horn button. No one answered. No one came out of the office. Still no response. Everything seemed so quiet and suddenly ominous. I found myself shivering. I had a curious feeling that someone was watching me. I've got to get away from here fast. It started again. It won't start. It won't start. For a long time I sat behind the wheel, listening for the sound of footsteps stealing up behind the car. There were none. Then I could bear it no longer. I had to get out of the car. I had to see what was in that office. I opened the door of the car and stepped down on the gravel. Anybody in there? No answer. I clenched my fists and stepped inside. There on the floor at my feet lay the body of a man. His mechanic's jumper was stained red with blood, and his throat was cut from ear to ear. How long I stood there, I'll never know. I was petrified, unable to move, unable to take my eyes and the bloody body. What's that? Someone coming downstairs. Hartley. It must be Hartley, the killer. He must have been hiding somewhere upstairs. I've got to get away outside. But how? My car won't run. That other car, the coupe, I could jump into that. Yes. If I could reach that coupe before he comes down.
Anything wrong, sister?
Too late.
Anything I can do for you, sister?
Yes, it's my car. It won't start. I thought someone here might help me.
Sorry. There doesn't seem to be anybody around. That's my coupe over there. I stopped for gas and no one came out, so I went in and looked around.
Did you find anyone?
There isn't a living soul in there.
Oh.
You look kind of tired.
Oh, no, I'm all right.
My name is Taylor.
Oh?
John Taylor.
I'm Linda Dixon.
Linda Dixon, huh? Glad to know you. Traveling far tonight?
Well, I'm going to Carstairs. Seven Lakes Hotel. They're expecting me.
Now, what do you know about that?
What?
Carstairs is the town I'm heading for, too. Isn't that a coincidence?
Yes, I'm sure it is.
Your car won't run, huh? Tell you what, we'll put your baggage in my car and I'll give you a lift to Carstairs. You can send for your car in the morning.
Oh, no.
I'll have your bag switched in a jiffy.
Please, no, I would rather not.
We are all switched. Now, come on. Get in here.
He took my arm and helped me into the coupe. His hand was strong. His grip was hard. It hurt me.
There you are. Snug as a bug in a rug.
We drove away into the night, leaving behind us the dead man in the service station.
From where we sit, it looks as if pretty Linda Dixon has gotten herself into an awful jam. And believe me, she's shaking like jelly.
My goodness, that poor girl. And just think, this is supposed to be her vacation.
Why, Mary, she's in the country now, isn't she? In fact, it looks to me like she's going back to the soil. Horizontally.
Oh, dear. Why do you always look on the dark side of things? Seems to me you're always pessimistic. Of course, lots of folks feel that way at times, like when they've been working too hard and they're tired. But you know, I think there's nothing better for that let-down feeling than a good hot cup of Lipton's, the tea with the brisk flavor. That brisk flavor really perks you up. You see, that word brisk, B-R-I-S-K, is just another way of saying that Lipton tea tastes full-bodied and vigorous. Yes, tangy and spirited, never flat or wishy-washy. So try Lipton's real soon, won't you, folks?
Well, now, let's go back and see how pretty little Linda Dixon is making out, all alone in the car with a strange man. But after all, she shouldn't be too scared of him. He's just a felon and he's a friend.
The storm broke a few minutes after we left that service station. We drove through sheets of rain. I sat stiff and tense beside the man who called himself John Taylor. He had both hands on the wheel, and he stared out through the windshield. My eyes focused on something on his right hand. There was a stain, a small stain, but it was wet and red. I couldn't take my eyes off it.
What are you looking at?
What? Oh, nothing. Nothing at all.
Think I'll turn on the radio. Did you know there's been a jailbreak?
Liz, 5'10", very dark hair. Don't be fooled by his pleasant manner. He is a killer by instinct.
A killer
Take no chances
by
with this
instinct.
man. is absolutely...
I looked at the man beside me.
Helen Hearn is a clever and dangerous woman. 5'3", red hair, very pretty.
I caught Taylor looking at me out of the corner of his eye. What are you looking at?
At your hair. It's red.
There was a streak of lightning, and looking out of the rain-swept window, I glimpsed a signpost. The lightning illuminated the sign, and my heart skipped a beat at what I saw. That sign we just passed.
What about it?
Well, it said Kerhonkson ahead. We're going the wrong way. We should be on the Carstairs Road, not on the Kerhonkson Road.
That's funny. Must have taken the wrong turn.
Well, aren't you going to turn back?
Sure. Whatever you say. We'll turn right around and go back. Uh-oh. We're in the ditch.
In the ditch?
That's no good. She won't budge. Well, it looks like we're stuck here for the night. You look scared.
Oh, no. I think I'd better get out and walk. Perhaps there's a house nearby.
Walk in this weather?
Oh, I don't mind the weather, really. I don't.
You can't walk in this storm?
Well, nevertheless, I'm going to try.
Not on your life.
What do you mean?
You're staying right here till I get the car out of the ditch. You get pneumonia walking in this storm.
But I'm
Let's see. Where's that flashlight? Ah, here we are. Got some tools in the trunk compartment. You stay put. Stay right where you are.
I heard him open the trunk in the back. I listened for further sounds, but there was nothing. I didn't hear him moving there. I didn't hear any tools. I had to find out what he was doing. Slowly, carefully, I got my door open. I stepped out into the rain and sneaked back toward the rear. I saw him there, not moving, in front of the open trunk compartment, bending over with a flashlight in his hand. The ray of light was focused on something curled up inside. It wasn't baggage or tools. It was a woman's body. Just then he saw me. He snapped the flashlight off, but not before I caught a glimpse of red hair. Then I must have fainted. When I came to, I found myself seated inside the car again. My face and hair were wet. My clothes were dripping. John Taylor was driving. His face, as he stared ahead through the night, was dark and bleak. The storm was over. Night was quiet.
Oh, so you're awake again?
I don't feel well.
Is it because of what's in the trunk compartment?
She's dead.
I told you not to get out of the car.
What are you going to do with me?
What do you think?
Please.
Sorry, sister. Got to take your medicine.
Oh, no.
Better not make any trouble. I'll try to make it as easy for you as I can.
They say that when a person loses all hope, subconsciously he seeks refuge in sleep. That's what must have happened to me. I must have dozed or perhaps I fainted, I don't know. But I awoke with a start at the sound of brakes. I sat up straight and saw that we stopped in front of a small fieldstone house. Why are we stopping here?
I'm out of gas.
Oh.
Come on. We're going in.
Sign on the door said Roger Bryce, M.D. A doctor's house. I began to feel a spark of hope. There might be a chance.
I'll do the talking. Is that clear?
Yes.
Where's the bell? Oh. Must be awake. There's a light in the parlor.
How do you do?
Good evening. Dr. Bryce?
Yes. Can I help you?
I'm terribly sorry to disturb you, Doctor, but my sister and I were heading for Carstairs, and we seem to have gotten lost. And we're out of gas.
His sister? He was passing us off as brother and sister. Now I knew why he hadn't cut my throat as he had that service station man's. He was carrying me for protection. I was his passport through the police cordon. His sister.
I'm afraid I can't be of much help to you. I'm 7 miles from the nearest town, and I haven't any spare gasoline. Come in, won't you?
Why, yes, thank you, we will.
I wonder if I could offer you my hospitality for the night.
Oh, that would be imposing.
Not at all. I have 2 rooms that aren't being used.
Really?
Oh, come. I insist.
I'd hoped for a chance to talk to Dr. Bryce alone. Just a word to warn him. But Taylor never left us alone for a minute. He insisted on coming into my room. To make sure, he said, that it was comfortable enough for me. Then he took the doctor by the arm and went out with him.
Good night, sis. And sweet dreams.
I was alone. Free of the presence of John Taylor. I had another lease on life. I waited, my heart pounding. Give them both a chance to retire. Then I slipped off my shoes, and in my stocking feet, I stole across the room and inched my door open. Slowly, carefully, I stepped out into the corridor and turned right toward the doctor's room.
What's the matter, sister? You weren't thinking of going anywhere, were you?
I wanted a drink of water.
A drink of water, huh? In case you didn't know it, there's a water pitcher on your dresser.
Oh, I didn't see it.
Good night, sister.
I turned around and went back into my room. It was no use. If I attempted to warn Dr. Bryce, Taylor would probably kill us both. I turned out the light in my room. I knew he was watching my transom. Then I lay down on the bed. How long I lay there, I don't know. Perhaps I slept, perhaps not. But I heard that slight creak as my door began to inch open. The blood chilled in my veins. Slowly the door came open. I lay fascinated, unable to move. Vaguely I saw the outline of the hand and the knife it held. I wanted to scream, but I couldn't. Slowly he came toward the bed. Now he stands over me. He raises the knife. I screamed! I rolled over on the bed just as the knife flashed down. I rolled off the bed and cowered in a corner. That horrible figure came around the bed after me with a knife, afraid. Help! Dr. Bryce, help me! All I saw was there in the corner. They fought all over the room in the dark. I had no strength to move, to think, not even to hope. All the life seemed to have gone dead in my veins. And then it was over. But who had won? In the dark, I strained my eyes to see. There was a vague shape on the floor, and another weaving around the room. Who? Which one was it? Dr. Bryce, is that you?
No, Linda. It isn't Dr. Bryce. It's I, John Taylor.
John Taylor, standing there at the light switch. And on the floor lay Dr. Bryce unconscious, with a long gash in his head.
I had to hit him with a water pitcher.
My eyes turned to Dr. Bryce. I saw the knife still gripped in his right hand.
That's Hartley, Linda. Lee Hartley, the killer.
It was he who came in here with a knife?
Right. I was down the cellar just now. The real Dr. Bryce is down there, dead. And this fellow posed as Bryce when we came to the house.
Then you're not Hartley.
No, isn't that rich? All the time you thought I was Lee Hartley, and I thought you were Helen Hearn. On account of your red hair.
But the body, the red-haired woman.
That's Helen Hearn. This fellow must have killed her back at the service station and stuffed her body in my trunk compartment while I was inside.
That all happened last summer. In time, I think I'll manage to forget that night of horror. But it won't be soon. Sometimes in the night I dream that I see that awful figure with the knife poised above my throat. And I wake up screaming. But then John takes me in his arms and holds me tight and tells me that everything's all right. You see, I'm Mrs. John Taylor now.
Well, what do you know? A happy ending. As for Mr. Hartley, that pleasant killer, he got what he deserved. Yes, some people never know when they're well off. You should have stayed in jail, where they never raise your rent, where they make no charge for meals or for electric current. You see, when you're in jail, everything is free, except you.
You know, Mr. Host, that's the first happy ending we've had in a long, long time. And I must say I enjoyed it.
Ah, those lovebirds shouldn't have gotten married. It's bad for business, Mary. Now, when she wakes up screaming from a nightmare, she reaches for her husband instead of a hot cup of Lipton tea.
Well, I'm glad she has a husband to comfort her. There are plenty of other occasions, Mr. Host, when Lipton's tea is welcome. And I don't mean just at meal times either. Lipton's is grand between meals. And, of course, it's the perfect beverage to serve when friends and neighbors drop in to visit you. Yes, I guess that's why more people serve Lipton tea than any other brand.
And now a word of caution to all amateur detectives. They say that if you give a criminal enough rope, he'll hang himself. But if you give some criminals enough rope, they might tie you up. Oh, by the way, this month's Inner Sanctum mystery novel is Puzzle for Wantons by Patrick Quentin. Yes, and next week's Inner Sanctum story, directed by Hyman Brown, and brought to you by Lipton Tea and Lipton Soup. Next week's story is about a lonely man who falls in love with a mannequin in a store window. Oh, gee, fellow wants a real girl, so he tries to make her come to life. And what do you know? He finds he has to kill her first. Well, now it's time to close the squeaking door, so good night. Pleasant dreams.
Folks, these busy days we all want to save time when we prepare meals, and yet we don't want to sacrifice that good homemade taste. Well, the answer to that is Lipton's Noodle Soup. You see, Lipton's takes no time to prepare, and yet it has a real fresh-cooked chickeny flavor. Yes, it tastes just like the chicken noodle soup you'd make right in your own home. Lipton's is economical, too. It costs less and makes more than canned soups. So, folks, don't forget to serve Lipton's Noodle Soup. And don't forget to tune in next Tuesday night for another Inner Sanctum Mystery.
This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
HOJO Radio, we're your old-time radio headquarters. Stay tuned.
Inner Sanctum Mysteries. Good Good evening, friends of the Inner Sanctum. This is your host at the squeaking door again. Just slither in and let me dispel your weariness with a bit of eeriness, Oh, no, please. Don't sit in that chair. I'm saving it for rigor mortis to set in.
Oh, dear. I see this is going to be one of those nights when my favorite character gets killed.
Yes, Mary, but don't scream blue murder, because this is a corpse of a different color. And now let's leave the world. Temporarily, of course. Tonight's story is called The Lonely Sleep. It's an original radio play by Christopher Mayle, who scribbled it during a nightmare. And our star is Carl Swenson, who plays the role of Archie Gold. Murder is a specter which nudges all of us, anywhere. Most of us will never murder, but can any of us say we never will? Certainly Archie Gold, 30-ish, bald and mild-mannered, never thought he would murder. Archie was the window display man for Greg's department store. At night, the store is a fantastic nightmare of eerie shadows, covered showcases, cavernous depths, and dank, stale odors, with only his own hollow footsteps for sound. Because windows are dressed at night. It's night now. And Archie's busy in his storeroom crating his favorite mannequin for shipment to the mannequin factory. Being a lonely man, he talks to the mannequins. And being in love with Esther Newman of the store's accounting office, he naturally calls his favorite mannequin Esther.
You've been very mean to me, Esther. The last time I asked you to go out with me, you snickered at me. That's not nice. That's why I had to do this to you.
Archie tucked Esther's smooth pink torso into a crate.
There. Perfect fit, darling. Perfect.
Then Archie wrapped Esther's slim legs and arms in excelsior, tucked them into another crate.
So, you wouldn't put your arms around me, darling. Well, you won't get another chance.
Then Archie picked up Esther's pretty head and placed it on his workbench.
Oh, Esther. I'm so lonely. Why don't people talk to me? Why can't I be popular? But what's wrong with me? Why don't you go out with me?
What Archie never dreamed was that the real Esther Newman was at that moment slamming the last of her monthly report books closed, clicking off the light, and starting out of the finance office toward the rear door of the store. She stopped by Archie's half-open door when she hears his voice.
No, listen to me, Esther, darling. I am making enough money here to buy us a little place over in Jersey. See, all my life I wanted to love someone like you. You're so beautiful. You will marry me, won't you, darling?
Why, Archie, go. Sitting there proposing to a dummy, and the dummy's name is Esther. What a coincidence.
Esther, you worked late? I didn't know. No. I mean, yes, I give the mannequins names. It's sort of a game. A game. That's it.
Well, they don't talk back anyhow.
No, they don't talk back. But they're sort of kind. They smile at me. And, see, I'm lonely. Mm-hmm. I work all night. And Esther, will you go out with me Sunday night? Mm-hmm. Please. Just dinner and the movies.
Are you kidding? Why don't you ask your dummy friend? Hey, say what a swell idea. She won't eat much. You can maybe get her into the movies for half price, and when you kiss her goodnight, Archie, she won't slap your face. Why are you looking at me that way?
You shouldn't laugh.
You're crazy. You're trying to scare me. Yes, that's it. No, you're not. You are crazy. Don't come near her. Archie!
You shouldn't laugh.
Archie, stop!
You shouldn't laugh. My turn to laugh. My turn. You shouldn't laugh. People shouldn't laugh when you're lonely.
You see, the specter of murder had nudged Archie, and he'd obeyed. This was no mannequin at his feet. This was a woman, warm, beautiful, and dead. And being scared and lonelier than ever, Archie talked to his mannequins again. This time to Frank, painted and rouged and handsome in Greg's bargain $29.50 tweed suit.
You heard her laughing at me, Frank. I just couldn't stand her laughing at me again. You look at her, Frank. You'd think she was asleep. Her neck's broken. Gee, what am I going to do with her? Yeah, I got to think. Got to hide her. Got to dress the front window, too. The window. Sale of cozy kitten mattresses starts tomorrow. It's a big sale. Sleep on a cozy kitten. I've got it, Frank. The window. I've put her in the window. On a cozy kitten mattress. Nobody will know. And then tomorrow night,
So Archie used some pancake makeup, bringing life to Esther's salivating cheeks and purple lips. He placed her dead weight on a hard truck. He rolled her to the lighted window. An hour later, Esther's corpse, covered with gleaming white sheets and sleazy satin quilt, smiled in peaceful bliss at the empty street. Archie found his work well done.
Nothing more to do now. Just wait. I'll go home. And wait. That's a good window. You look very pretty in bed, Esther.
I've been watching you, young fella. Yeah. Saw you do the whole thing. What's the matter? I scare you?
No, officer. I didn't know.
Yeah, I've been in the doorway across the street watching you. A lot of work to making up one of them windows, ain't there?
Yeah. You saw me do the whole window, you mean?
Uh-huh. So I put the mattresses in, make the bed, put the signs in, and fix the lights. Then you put the girl in the bed and fix her face up. Hey, it's a nice job.
Yeah.
Say, you look bad, son.
Yeah.
Anything wrong? You sick?
Huh? No. I'm just tired.
All through for the night?
Yeah, I'm also. Good night, officer.
Good night, young fella, and don't worry about your girlfriend. I'll keep an eye on her every night.
So Archie went home, as you or I might have done. And because he'd been too busy setting his little post-mortem stage, the impact of his crime began to seep through only as he neared his rooming house. Maybe the girl in the doorway he'd passed started him thinking because she laughed.
Are you kidding?
Just a girl and her date. You can't blame Archie for hurrying. You would have thought it was Esther, too. Archie hurried. He hurried to the rooming house. He raced up the steps. He had to get to his room, get in and close the door of the world. Close the door. That's it.
They can't laugh at me here. They won't find me here. This is my room. Nerves. Stupid running like that. I've got to act normal. Sure, just like nothing happened. I couldn't help it. She made me do it. Don't forget about it.
Why, Archie, gold.
No. You can't laugh now. You're...
I'm dead, Archie. Yes, in a way. I'm in Greg's department store.
I don't believe in ghosts. It's just my mind, my imagination.
That's right, Archie. You're too clever to believe in ghosts. I'm not a ghost, Archie. I'm in your mind. I'm part of you now. Part of you.
Get out! Get out of me! Drive you out!
Oh, no, Archie. You can't. Unless...
Yes. That might do it. Someone else. Another girl.
See? That's how a murderer thinks. Oh, yes. You do the same thing. Archie never thought he would murder. Now he's ready to do it again. To get rid of his conscience, to get rid of a voice. Archie lit a cigarette. He poured himself some milk, ignoring the laughter in his brain until he pushed it again.
Look at your hands, Archie. Look at them. Oh, crooked and hard and clutching.
Oh.
Like they were on my throat.
No, shut up!
Archie threw himself on the bed and jammed the pillow against his ears. He fell into a dream worse than reality.
Hello?
Archie Gold?
Yeah, this is Archie Gold.
This is Mr. Gregg, Archie. I know this is your time to sleep, but it's important that you get down here right away.
Is anything wrong, Mr. Gregg?
I can't tell you over the phone. Come down here. Goodbye.
All right, Mr. Gregg.
After he'd shaved and dressed, Archie felt a little better. After all, if they'd discovered anything, Mr. Gregg wouldn't have called. He'd have sent the police. Feeling of confidence stayed with him until he stood across the street from Greg's. He lost it then. It dropped with a sickening pain about his heart and a dry pinching about his lips. People were standing 3 deep in front of his window display, and he caught sight of a policeman's cap following Mr. Gregg's bald head into the store. Well, let's see how good Archie's alibi is. Remember Archie, the lonely little man who dresses Gregg's department store windows at night? Just couldn't stand being spurned by Esther Newman any longer. She laughed at him when he asked for a date, and now Esther is a lifeless mannequin advertising the restful qualities of cozy kitten mattresses in the window display. And Archie enters the store to see what's in store for him.
Mr. Gregg, I'm,
Archie Gold, come in. Close the door. Sit down. My boy, you know Miss Newman in our bookkeeping department?
Yes, sir. I knew her, but I'd like a chance.
You're going to get a chance, my boy. Before leaving on a week's vacation, Miss Newman completed our annual report.
Miss Newman is on vacation?
Yes. She isn't important. Our report shows we sold 16 cozy kitten mattresses in 1 year.
Well, that's not many, is it, sir?
It's terrible. We were stuck with 1,500 of them. Just a minute now. Jenkins.
Yes, Mr. Gregg?
How many mattresses have you sold now?
802, sir.
You hear that, Gold?
Yes, sir.
802 mattresses in a couple of hours. And your window display did that. My boy, you're a genius.
Mr. Gregg,
No. I know just what you're going to say. Any man who has the imagination to put a woman dummy asleep in a window, and such a dummy, so peaceful. How much are we paying you, Archie?
It's $36.47 a week, sir.
Starting today, it's $72.94. And a private office, and you're the head window display manager of my 3 stores. Ha! Stunned you, huh?
Everything I've always wanted.
What's more, I've had pictures taken of that window with the crowds, and the paper promised to run it in tonight's edition. With your name. Good?
Yes, sir. I want you to know, sir, I appreciate it.
Oh, nonsense. Greg knows a bargain. Now go home to bed again, or take tonight off.
Oh, no. I have work to do.
Got more good ideas? Good.
Mr. Gregg.
Yes, my boy.
If the mattresses are selling so well, we won't need the display. I can take it out tonight.
Oh, nonsense. Don't touch it. We'll run this sale for 2 weeks. I just ordered 1,500 more mattresses.
Success and popularity was sweet to Archie's taste. But Archie knew a corpse, no matter how beautiful, cannot survive the sun beating through glass for long. And Archie knew that. It was a wretched rainy night. Greg's department store had long since closed its doors. The night belonged again to Archie. Now he had a nasty job to do. He drew the curtains across the big window. Casey officer was watching again. Esther was just a mannequin now, a mannequin of flesh and bones, but a mannequin. And Archie spoke to his mannequin.
You've had a hard day, Esther, darling, haven't you? Well, it's all over now. You never did anything for me alive. Dead, you brought me success. Now I've got to send you away. You're stiff and cold, Esther. And you can't laugh now, can you?
Esther couldn't laugh. And Archie opened the crates which contained the mannequin he had originally planned to ship. With a few simple tools and lots of work, he made Esther, the real Esther, conform to his original shipment. A torso, a pair of slim legs and arms, and a head.
Who? Well, that's the alley door. Somebody's there. Gee, a cop, maybe. I've got to act natural. After all, she's well hidden.
Could I come in? Please, I'm so wet and tired.
A girl. It's a girl. Yes. Come in. Get out of that rain.
Thanks.
Why, you poor kid, you're soaked. Come into the workshop. I've got a heater in there.
Gosh, thanks.
She was sent to me. Someone to take Esther's place. Feel better now?
Yeah, that's better. You're very kind.
How did you happen to pick this door to knock at?
Well, the alley seemed a good place to get out of the wind. It started to rain, and I saw your light.
Oh, I see. And you're broke.
Yeah. Usual story. I came to town from Philly to get a job. Job was there, all right, but the boss wasn't on the level.
Well, don't you have a home? Parents or a husband, I mean? Oh, that's
no.
a shame. Look, stay right there now. I'll be right back.
You're not leaving me, are you?
No, I'm going to get a blanket to put across your shoulders. I'll be right back.
Of course he'd be right back. Wasn't this just what he needed? Another mannequin to satisfy Esther's voice? Made sense. The second time, it's easier. It always is.
Don't move, May. I'll put it across your shoulders.
All right. You're a very lonely man, aren't you, Mr. Gold?
How do you know that?
Because I like you.
How does that prove I'm lonely?
I like lonely people.
Why?
Because I'm terribly lonely myself.
I got some coffee in the thermos here. I'll get you some.
I like it here. I like to look at the mannequins, especially that handsome one there. What do you call him?
What do you mean, call him?
Well, you must talk to him. I would.
You're wonderful. You understand. See, I do. I do talk to him. His name's Frank. Frank, meet May. May, this is Frank.
Hello, Frank. I'm sleepy, Frank.
Oh, May. Why did you come tonight? Why couldn't you come 2 nights ago? You're sleepy?
Mm-hmm. I'm warm and sleepy.
Look, I have 3 hours before my window has to be finished, and I have an errand that'll take me about an hour. You climb into the bed in the window and...
People will see me in the window.
No, the curtains are drawn. I'll wake you when I get back.
All right. Looks like the kind of bed I could sleep on forever and... ever.
Doesn't always work out the way you plan it, see? Archie didn't want to murder Esther, but he did. Archie wants to murder May, but he'd rather not. Well, Archie drew the satin quilts over May. She smiled, closed her eyes with murmured thanks, and was asleep. Archie knew now he loved her, that he must never listen to her speak again. While Archie carried the crates containing Esther's remains into the station wagon in the alley, a little man with a sad, droopy face and a derby hat argued with the night captain of the local police station.
I tell you, I know what I'm talking about. I stopped at Greg's window 4 times today. I know a corpse when I see one.
Well, I saw that window, too. That's a dummy in that bed. I know a dummy when I see one.
I don't doubt that, Captain. You've had more experience with dummies than I have, but I've had more experience with corpses than you have. That's a dead girl in the bed.
Now, what makes you so sure?
I've been an undertaker for 40 years. My name is Huzak. My establishment is down the block from Greg's store on 10th Street.
Okay, we'll check. Now, operator, get me Mr. Gregg. Yeah, Greg's department store. Of course it is home. What else at this hour?
Archie had a plan. Excitement gripped him. But that habit of years was strong, and he talked to Esther as he piled her 3 coffins into the station wagon in the alley.
Don't you worry, Esther. In a half hour, you'll be at the bottom of the river. You shouldn't have laughed, Esther. Then I'll come back to me.
Sure. Archie had a plan, all right. But it didn't include the little old undertaker who knew a corpse when he saw one, or an angry, sleepy Mr. Gregg, or a confused captain, were right then coming to a stop in front of the store.
This is an outrage, a preposterous, fantastic farce. Getting me down here in the middle of the night. Prove I have a corpse in my window.
I know, Mr. Gregg. I feel silly about it myself, but Mr. Huzak here seems so sure.
The curtains are drawn in front of the window. We'll have to go inside.
Oh. In a minute, you're all going to look very silly. There. Does that look like a corpse?
No. You're right. It's not a corpse. It isn't a dummy either.
She's alive. Breathing.
There's something queer here. I'm going to look around outside.
Archie! Archie, go!
Archie didn't hear himself being paged. But at the entrance of the alley, he saw the police car in front, and he heard the police captain shouting from the sidewalk. That was when Archie decided it was better to be lonely. The lonelier, the better.
They found out. That's the police. They found out.
Hey, you! What?
Right now. Got to. Catch me. They won't. Got the light, man. I gotta go through. Faster. Faster. Why can't it go faster? Turn right.
No one ever heard Archie's last words. They bubbled through his torn throat as he lay in a glass-smashed window through which he'd crashed. No one.
I'm so lonely. May. So lonely.
Well, Greg, here's your Archie Gold. I'll bet those crates will be interesting.
Awful.
Yeah, quite a mess.
No one was cruel enough to point out a gruesome bit of grisly humor. The lonely little man who'd spent so much time in display windows had created his final masterpiece. Archie had decorated his last window in Huzak's funeral parlor. The lesson we learned from tonight's story is that murder doesn't pay. It's a losing business. Murderers are always in the red. Mm-hmm. And it's strenuous work, too. You're bound to find yourself a little stiff. Well, I have to run along now, folks. Got some shopping to do in Greg's department store. What? Oh, I know it's late, but You see, Archie and I shop at night to avoid the shrouds, you know. By the way, this month's Inner Sanctum mystery novel is Puzzle for Wantons by Patrick Quentin. Oh, and here's a special announcement. Next week's story is about a man whose dreams always come true. All he has to do is to dream that somebody's being murdered and... Enough to keep you awake, isn't it? So until we meet again next Tuesday, you dream of me and I'll dream of you. Mm-hmm. Now it's time to close the squeaking door, so good night. Pleasant dreams.
Don't forget to tune in next Tuesday night for another Inner Sanctum Mystery.
This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Our next broadcast is a supernatural fantasy series that ran from 1943 through 1945. There were 78 episodes produced altogether. The show's strength was stories from famous writers of the two genres, including Robert Louis Stevenson, Victor Hugo, Edgar Allan Poe, and even Charles Dickens. One of the more unusual aspects of the show was that there was no music, other than between scenes. Some have claimed that this lack of music helps to keep the show from being dated, as it remains fresh to this day. We present to you The Weird Circle on HOJO Radio.
Out of the past, phantoms of a world gone by speak again the immortal tale, The Evil Eye.
Now, please read the last line, Mr. Despermont.
A. Is that Z?
Go right ahead.
Z. T. No, I can't see the rest, Doctor.
Very well. Now lean back while I have a look. Well, what is it? Did that hurt your eyes?
You flashed that little light into my eyes. I had a terrible pain in the back of my head.
Oh. Well, then, put your head way back. I can probably see with the overhead light. There. Now, let's see.
Why do you suppose that light hurt them so?
I'm afraid, Mr. Despermont, that your eyes are very much weakened. Strong light of any sort will probably, I'm afraid I'll have to stop for a moment.
What's the matter, Doctor? You're suddenly so pale. Are you ill?
Why, I don't know. All at once I felt so weak, as though perhaps my heart had almost stopped. Here, let me sit down for a moment.
Well, I'll get you a glass of water. Here, Doctor, take a drink of this.
There. That's a bit better. Just let me sit here a minute.
Maybe it was from leaning over so far to look into my eyes.
Why, no, I wasn't leaning too far. I just observed the odd color of the iris of your eye, Mr. Despermont. A color usually associated with... Well, that doesn't matter. But all at once it seemed to me that the light caught a reflection in your eye, and as I saw that, I felt terribly weak. Almost as though I'd been heavily drugged.
Are you feeling any better now, Doctor?
Yes, thank you, somewhat. I'll give you my report, and then I believe I shall go home for tea. I shall have to cancel my next appointment.
I hope the report isn't too bad. You see, I'm leaving London in a few days, and I'd hate to have to miss the trip.
Well, sir, as I said, your eyes are greatly weakened. I should definitely advise your keeping out of strong light, especially bright sunlight. I'm afraid that if you don't, you will greatly endanger your vision.
You mean I may go blind?
I'm sorry to have to tell you this, sir, but I must be frank. You will almost certainly be blind within time unless, well, without surgery, those nerves cannot be saved.
But, Doctor, I've got to go to Naples. Everything's arranged, and I can't change things.
For what reason, Mr. Despermont?
Well, one that may sound a bit super romantic, I'm afraid. You see, my fiancée, Miss Ward, has gone there with her uncle, and I'm going to join them for a short while.
Well, there's no hindering youth in love, sir. I may as well give up that thought now. I'll tell you, though, I should advise treatment immediately upon your return. And meantime, against the brilliance of the Italian sun, I should advise covering your eyes with smoked glasses.
Under no circumstances look directly into brilliant light.
You think it'll be safe to go then, Doctor?
Well, tell me, why can't Miss Ward return to London? Well, surely if you explain...
I should hate to worry her over so trivial a matter, Doctor.
Trivial? I assure you, Mr. Despermont, this is no trivial matter. It means your sight, the power to see.
Under those circumstances, I should send for her, I suppose. But, you see, she went there for her own health, and as long as I can protect my eyes until I return, I feel that my visit to her would be safer.
Has she been very ill? Look at me, Mr. Despermont, while we talk. Keep your eyes from that strong overhead light.
Well, for some time before her departure, she was subject to sudden fits of faintness. Her color had gone, and she was very weak when she left London. Those faint spells were very strange, Doctor. In fact, they seemed to come upon her just as yours did. Often when we were very close, looking into each other's eyes.
Well, then, sir, in that case, I should have... That flash of light in your eyes...
Doctor! Doctor, what is it? Well, can't you hear me, Doctor? What's the matter?
It's all right, monsieur. They've said we may go ashore now.
Oh, good, Rudolph. I'm certainly ready. This trip to Naples has been rather tiresome.
Monsieur is anxious to reach his destination, and Miss Ward?
Monsieur is very anxious for that. Let's get started.
Yes, sir.
So there I was. I hope my golf...
I've already attended to the luggage, Monsieur Paul. It's on the dock.
Was there anyone there?
But yes, monsieur, there was.
Well, quickly, Rudolph, tell me, was it Miss Ward?
Miss Ward? No, monsieur. But it's a very charming lady.
Tell me, Rudolph, who is it?
Miss Ward's personal maid, monsieur, whom she sent to greet you and...
Her maid? No one else?
Oh, just the carriage driver, monsieur. Miss Ward has sent a carriage with a message that you're to come to their house at the beach as quickly as it is convenient. The maid, Louisa, will help you.
Was there no other message?
Perhaps Louisa has one for you, monsieur. Oh, there she is, there. Oh, is she not lovely?
It'd be fine, wouldn't it, Rudolph, if you were to take the maid and I the mistress?
Yes, monsieur. Louisa! Here.
Ah, Signor, it is to me a pleasure to welcome... Signor!
What is it, Louisa? Something wrong?
Signor, it is... I will call the carriage.
Oh, wait, Louisa.
Si, Signor?
Well, what is it? What's wrong? Well, what on earth have you got there in your hand?
It is nothing, Signor. A tiny pair of horns which I wear in this chain around my neck.
Horns? Well, what for? You're holding them pointed at me so oddly.
They are for my protection, Signor. That is all. I must call the carriage.
What do you make of that, Rudolph?
I cannot say, monsieur.
Oh, well, you get the baggage to the hotel, and I'll meet you there later after I visit Miss Ward and her uncle.
Yes, monsieur. Louisa!
Your master. You have worked for him for long?
8 years.
You know what these are? These horns I carry?
Yes, I know. I am Italian by birth. But I do not believe.
You will believe. And before long. Your master, Signor Paul. He is very evil, that one. Aiutatore. Oh, Paul, it's so wonderful to see you again.
Alicia, my darling.
Oh, it's been so long. I'm sorry you couldn't have come sooner. It's wonderful here.
It is a beautiful spot. And you, my darling, are more lovely than ever.
Come with me out to the terrace. I fixed it up for tea. The Commodore and a friend of ours are there now. Did you enjoy the trip here?
No, it was quite tiresome. But anything would be tiresome away from you, Alicia.
Paul, my dearest. But come on, the others are waiting.
Oh, Paul, my lad, welcome.
Thank you, Commodore. Delighted to be here.
And we're delighted to have you. Though I must say Alicia doesn't look the worse for having missed you.
Oh, Uncle, I've spoken of him constantly. You know that.
He's right, though, Alicia. You do look very well. Much better than when you left London.
I look well because you've arrived at last, Paul. Oh, but we're forgetting our manners. Paul, may I present Count Altavilla, our friend.
A pleasure, Signor.
Sir, Alicia has written of you in her letters. I'm delighted at meeting you.
Well, now that you're here, Paul, you'll have to look to your laurels. Count Altavilla would like to be your rival.
I shall do my best to prevent that, sir. I'm sure the Count would be a far more charming friend than enemy.
Mm-hmm. I think, gentlemen, that this is something of a question for me to decide, isn't it? Why, Signor, what is that you have in your hand?
This? Why, my dear, it's a little ornament I always carry on a chain around my neck.
Let me see. Why, it's a tiny pair of horns.
A pair of horns?
Have you seen them before, Paul?
Yes. Yes, I have.
I am not surprised, sir.
Well, what on earth are they for?
They serve a very real purpose, my dear. We were speaking of your health, Alicia. You have improved greatly since coming here to Naples.
My faint spells have stopped. I'm sure it's the sunshine.
You've had none of the spells since you left London?
She's been as bright and healthy as a flower, Paul, and just as beautiful.
With that I agree, Commodore. Extremely beautiful.
I can see that this is my afternoon to shine. Oh, but I do love to sit here in the warm, sunny air in the afternoon, though. It's been good for me. Oh, the sun is coming around this way now, and you'll see how delightful it is.
Will it be directly on us?
In a few minutes, yes. Well, why, Paul?
Don't say, Paul, that you're afraid of a little sunlight.
Well, it's just that... You see, my eyes need protection. That's why I wear these smoked glasses occasionally.
Yes. Your eyes do need protection, senor.
Oh, could you tell, sir?
A great deal, senor.
If you men will insist upon talking in riddles, I shall have to separate you. Come on, Paul, let's walk in the garden. There's shade there, and you can take those foolish glasses off again.
I'd love to, Alicia. You'll pardon us, gentlemen?
Oh, of course, my lad.
Perhaps, senor, would be better if you kept the glasses on, even while you're in the garden.
If you think so, sir, perhaps it would be best.
What on earth were you two talking about that way? I can't understand a thing.
Well, isn't the Count an eye doctor?
Heavens, no. I don't believe he's anything but a wealthy man. Come on, Paul, take them off. It's shady here.
I will, my darling. I can see your lovely face more clearly without them.
Paul, did you notice that the Count put away those funny little horns after you put your glasses on?
No.
I can't understand it. He's been so strange this afternoon. First he spoke in a peculiar way about my health, and then about your eyes.
Maybe he's jealous, darling. Driven out of his mind with jealousy.
Oh, Paul.
A man might well be about a beautiful girl like you. Especially when that beautiful girl watches another man with such concentration.
Oh, Paul, did I do that?
I loved every minute of your watching me.
We've been apart so long, Paul. I want to devour you with my eyes.
Oh, Alicia, my darling. My only love, let me hold you here. Stay still here in my arms and let me look at you. Let me look into those beautiful eyes of yours.
Paul. Paul, what's happening?
What's the matter? Alicia! Alicia, speak to me.
Paul, I feel so faint, so funny. Just the way I used to feel before I left London.
Oh, here, darling. Sit down here on this little bench. Rest yourself for a moment.
Oh, there. I'm beginning to feel better now. A little stronger. I can't imagine what it was. I felt drugged somehow, as though I was losing all my strength. I could see the light flashing in your eyes.
Let's go back to the house. This worries me. Maybe a little rest.
Yes, rest may be what I need, Paul. I've been waiting for you for so long, and now that you're here, perhaps my nerves are in need of rest.
Come on, dearest.
Look up there on the terrace. The Count is gone, I guess.
Yes, the Commodore's standing there alone. He seems to be waiting for us.
He seems puzzled about something. Why, Uncle, what's the matter?
So, you're back already, eh? What is it? You look pale, Alicia. Has something happened?
Oh, it was nothing serious. I'm better now. I had one of my faint spells, that's all.
It worried me, sir.
And, well, it might. Alicia hasn't had one of those for a long time.
What's that in your hand, Uncle?
Count Altavilla left a present for you, my dear.
Present for me? Well, why didn't he give it to me himself?
He said you might need it. He hadn't thought of it while you were here.
Let me see, Uncle. Give it to me. Why, what on earth?
What is it?
A tiny pair of horns. Paul, what can this mean?
Anything else, monsieur?
No, thank you, Rudolph. That was a delicious dinner they sent up.
It is an excellent hotel, monsieur.
Tell me, Rudolph, you talked to Louisa the other day after I'd left.
Yes.
Did she explain her attitude toward me? She seemed so frightened.
No, monsieur. She was not frightened. It was Well, it was just...
Oh, come, Rudolph. I could see that there was something wrong, and later Count Altavilla held a pair of these horns toward me, just as Louisa had.
Monsieur, if you insist on knowing, it's a silly superstition they have here.
Superstition? What kind?
It's about the evil eye. They believe that some people with eyes the color of yours, monsieur, possess a terrible power. The power to kill with a glance. The ignorant Louisa believed it of you.
Perhaps not so ignorant.
But, monsieur, you do not believe it.
You remember, Rudolph, I told you about the doctor's fainting after examining my eyes?
Yes, monsieur.
The same thing happened with Alicia. The first time she's fainted since she came here, since she saw me last. There could be a connection. Tell me, Rudolph, you were born in this country. Have you ever seen this evil eye in action?
I have seen several accused of having it. A man so afflicted is called a jettatore. I have even seen the ignorant people hound him to death. Of course, you, monsieur, a foreigner, a gentleman, they would not dare.
And the horns, what are they?
Horns, monsieur? Oh, you have seen those too?
Twice.
They are supposed to be able to ward off the evil of the glance of a jettatore.
Then even the Count Altavilla believes in this.
Even so educated a man as he, monsieur. I will answer, monsieur.
Monsieur D'Estremont, if you please.
Who is calling, monsieur?
Count Altavilla, come in.
Thank you, senor. I trust I am not intruding.
Not at all. Be seated, senor. It's a pleasure to see you.
Perhaps it will be less of a pleasure when I've explained my visit.
Was that so, senor? I see you've not forgotten to replace the horns.
By no means. I trust them with my life. And so must Miss Ward until I have your promise to stay away from her.
Stay away from her? I can't do that, senor.
I've come to ask you that very thing.
But she's my fiancée. You have no right to ask such a thing.
It is for her sake. You can do her great harm.
I can take steps, senor, to prevent that harm.
No, senor, that will not do. You must refuse to see her again.
And leave the field clear for you?
Precisely. I shall marry Miss Ward. She will be safe that way.
And, senor, what will Miss Ward have to say about this?
I've already told her and her uncle about the evil power you possess. I've warned them.
And what was Miss Ward's answer?
Unfortunately, she was stubborn, senor. She will not believe in this power. She believes herself to be ill of some other cause and wishes to marry you. But that, of course, is immaterial.
Immaterial, senor? Immaterial that the girl I love, the most wonderful girl in the world, would prefer to chance death with me than marry another? How can you dare to come here to me in my own rooms and suggest such things? How dare you? How dare you? There, senor. Perhaps you will want satisfaction for that.
Very well, senor. If you prefer it that way, I accept your challenge.
Monsieur, you're not thinking of dueling. Not in these days. It's been forbidden. Please, monsieur, reconsider.
I cannot reconsider now the thing is done.
Don't fear, senor. I know the place for this. There is a cave on the seashore. No one will be near.
As for the weapons, senor, I have a suggestion.
I will give you the privilege of selecting the weapons.
Since you believe in the power of my eyes, that even with a glance I might kill you, I suggest we duel with swords blindfolded.
Blindfolded?
And that way, senor, if one of us wishes to run away, he will also not be able to find the cave's mouth.
It is a fair suggestion, senor. It is settled then. Tomorrow morning at sunrise. The cave is near to Miss Ward's house. Your servant will stand guard outside. There will be no danger of discovery, senor, for the tide washes into the cave and leaves it bare of clues.
Oh, monsieur! Monsieur! What have you done? This is it, monsieur. The cave.
Very well, Rudolph. And there is Count Altavilla coming up the beach.
Oh, monsieur, I beg you, stop now. Don't go on with this.
No, Rudolph, it's settled now. I must go on.
Senor, is everything prepared?
I'm quite ready.
Very well, then. Look in here. You see, there is sufficient room for us.
Enough for our purpose, senor. All right, Rudolph, you may blindfold us now. Bind my eyes first, so the Count will see that it's done fairly.
Monsieur,
Come, Rudolph, it's getting late.
Very well, monsieur. There. Tell me if I tie it too tightly.
No, that's fine. Tie on Count Altavila's blindfold now and lead us into the cave.
Yes, monsieur. And you, sir? Am I tying it too tightly?
It fits very well as it is.
And now, this way, monsieur. This way.
Stand guard outside, Rudolph. Be sure to keep careful watch.
Yes, monsieur.
And now, senor.
Ready, senor.
We begin.
No! Oh, I almost fell. Silence, senor. Your voice gives your position away.
Yes, so it does, senor.
No. You have stabbed me, senor. It is a mortal wound.
Senor. Count Altavila. Oh, let me see. Let me get this blindfold off. He's dead.
Monsieur! Oh, it is you! Thank heaven it is you!
Yes, Rudolph, it's I. The tide will come later and claim Count Altavila. At least no one can say it wasn't a fair fight.
Oh, no, monsieur. Here, I will get your coat. The sun is rising now, but you're chilled.
Yes, the sun is rising. Rising on another day. Look, Rudolph, how red and brilliant it is. Oh, Rudolph. Rudolph, my eyes. My head.
Monsieur Paul, what is it?
Rudolph, where are you, Ike? I can't see you. Everything is dim and dark.
Well, I'm here, monsieur. Right here. Can't you see me yet?
Yes. Yes, Rudolph. Now that you're closer, I can see you. But not too well. Oh, Rudolph. This is a great day for me.
Monsieur, your eyes. They are red. Do they hurt you? Can't you see?
I can still see, Rudolph. I can still see, but not for long. Rudolph, I'll soon be blind.
But, monsieur, you sound happy. Happy to be blind.
I forgot. I looked at the sun when it was rising. It was brilliant and red. And now I'll be blind. Why didn't I think of it before?
Of what?
Blindness, Rudolph, blindness. If I'm blind, my eyes can hurt no one. It was so simple. And now, by chance, by the goodness of heaven, I'll be blind. Alicia and I will be safe together after all.
Monsieur, have you gone mad?
Oh, far from it, Rudolph. A lucky accident has brought me happiness. Alicia. Rudolph, go back and wait for me at the hotel. I'm going to her now. I must see her again, just once again, before I can see her no longer. Alicia, my darling.
Paul, why are you here so early in the morning?
Alicia, I had to come. I had to tell you that everything's all right now.
What's all right, my dearest? It always has been, hasn't it?
I knew you'd be awake, Alicia, when I came and called under your window.
There couldn't have been anything better to wake up to than the sound of your voice calling me.
It's wonderful here in your garden in the early sunlight, isn't it?
Any place is wonderful with you, my darling.
Everything is so brilliant and sparkling.
But, Paul, you've forgotten. Your eyes, you said you had to protect them.
Well, that doesn't matter any longer, my love. That's over.
What's over? Oh, Paul, why does everyone act so strange? First it's Count Altavila with some weird idea about your eyes, and now you act so mysteriously.
It's nothing to worry about, my darling. Everything's fine now.
Paul, please tell me what it is.
Oh, my darling, come here. Come into my arms. Here, let me look deep into your eyes. Let me see you as you are, and let me look well. I want to fix your picture in my mind so I'll remember it always, always, my love, just as you are now. You'll never change for me.
Paul, you're looking at me as though you'll never see me again. What is it?
Never see you again? Well, I'll always see you just like this.
Oh, Paul, I feel so faint. So awful. As though I were going to... Oh, help me. Don't let me fall.
Alicia. Oh, I've looked too long. Alicia, I'll rest you here on this bench. I'll get you water. I'll be right back.
Paul.
I'll be right back. Oh, my eyes. It's all so dark I can't see. Alicia! Say something, Alicia, so I can find my way. Say something. Alicia! Alicia!
Paul! Paul, my lad. Is something wrong? What is it?
I can't find her. Alicia, she's gone.
Gone? Why, lad, she's right there, lying on that bench. Your eyes, Paul. Your eyes, what's happened? They're red and bloodshot. Can't you see, lad? Can't you see?
I'm blind now. I'm blind. I can't harm Alicia anymore. I love her. I'll always love her. I can't see her anymore.
Oh, Lord. What is this? Alicia. Alicia, wake up, child. Wake up. It's your uncle.
Won't she speak anymore? Won't she answer?
Alicia. Paul. Paul, come here. What's happened? Alicia's dead.
They did it. My eyes. With that last light, they did it. How can I stay here? How can I stand this place any longer?
Paul, where are you going?
To the house. I'm going home, back to town, away, anywhere away from here.
That way. The house is over here.
Going away, going home where people won't think and won't know.
Be careful, Paul. It's this. Turn this way, Paul.
I'll always live with a picture of Alicia in my mind. I'll always.
Paul! 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 Paul, hear me above the surf. He couldn't see the cliff. He fell. Oh, Alicia. Alicia, my child.
From the time-worn pages of the past, we have brought you the story, The Evil Eye. Bellkeeper, toll the bell.
Stay tuned to HOJO Radio.
Out of the past, phantoms of a world gone by speak again the immortal tale, The Mark of the Plague.
Give me your hand, Lucille.
What is it, Harry? You look worried this afternoon. It's much too beautiful here to frown like that.
Sit down on this bench next to me, darling. I have something to tell you.
There. Huh. Now, dearest, what is it you have on your very, very serious mind?
Oh, you little minx. You can't take anything seriously, can you? Not even love.
You know I love you more than anything in the world. And nothing's ever too serious when we have each other. All right, smile now. That's better.
It certainly would be difficult if I had something important to tell you. You're about as unpredictable.
Look, Harry, look over there.
What?
It's a double cowslip coming out already. One of the roots I set out myself.
Darling, everything's blossoming. It will be all our lives for us, won't it? As long as we're together.
And we will be always. Won't we, dear?
Oh, I hope so.
Is there any doubt? There isn't in my mind. Nothing could keep us apart, Harry. Nothing. Not even death.
Why, Lucille, what a thing to say. Thank heaven we have a long time ahead of us before we have to think of things like that.
There's no way of telling that, Harry. You never know when death is standing on your own doorstep.
Well, I never know from minute to minute what's going on inside that pretty head of yours.
I'm serious now. You never can tell. Oh, can't we arrange to be married soon? I want to so much.
Well, that was what I wanted you to sit down here and talk about. Our marriage.
There's nothing I'd rather talk about.
We may have to wait, dear heart.
Wait?
Just for a little while, until I can talk to Father.
Your father doesn't want us to marry, does he? He's afraid of something. What is it, Harry? You've never told me.
Well, he's a very proud man, Lucille. Too proud for his own good.
And I'm just a shopkeeper's daughter. Is that it? But we love each other, don't we? Tell me, Harry. Tell me that you love me.
Oh, I do, Lucille. Can't you see it in my eyes? Hear it in my voice? I've never felt this way about anyone before.
But you don't love me enough to stand on your own feet against your father.
I will, Lucille, I will, but you know what a situation this is. My father, all our friends, everyone, they'll talk. I'm thinking of you, dearest, as well as myself. Will we be able to last against all the opposition?
If we're strong enough, if we believe in each other and in ourselves, yes. Determination is what we have to have.
Why, Lucille, you sound almost militant. I've never seen you this way before.
I feel very strongly about this, Harry. I don't believe in snobbishness. Not in our day and age, not now. And when it's us, well, I guess it just hurts more than ever.
Lucille,
London's a big place, Harry, but not as big as that. We're living here within the boundaries of the same city. My father is an honest, good man. And just because he happens to own a shop instead of having a family fortune the way your father does, doesn't make him less than anyone else, Harry. Not in my eyes, anyway.
Lucille, we'll talk about it again very soon, shall we?
Talk about it soon. Why can't we settle it now? Get something definite in mind. Darling, it can't go on like this.
In 2 weeks, Lucille, we'll talk to Father together. We'll go to him and tell him the whole thing. And when he sees you, dear, when he knows what a wonderful girl you really are, then he can't object.
Is that a promise?
Yes. You see, I'm going away for a little while. I have to travel to the north for Father's estate. When I come back...
All right, dearest. I'll wait until then. 2 weeks.
You come then. Come to the house, and we'll go to him.
I'll be there, darling. Oh, someone's just come into the shop. I'll have to go. Daddy's in the office and doesn't want to be disturbed.
All right, my love. I'll go out by the back gate. Goodbye, dear. I do love you so very much.
Goodbye. In 2 weeks, I'll be with you again.
Goodbye.
I'm coming. Who can be in such a hurry? Oh, Mr. Kent, I'm so sorry you had to wait.
Mrs. Darcy, good day.
Daddy's busy, and he left me to mind the shop. I'm afraid I was playing truant.
Perfectly all right, ma'am. I only wondered whether...
I know. You wondered whether that box had arrived from the Levant. The goods you wanted.
Well, yes, exactly.
Well, it has arrived, Mr. Kent. In fact, it just came this morning from Holland. I do hope the things you wanted are in it. Here it is. Here. Father opened it when it came.
Oh, let's see.
Here are the things. Yes, and here are yours.
Mm.
Some herbs and this material, wasn't it?
Exactly.
You may as well take them along right now if you like.
And the payment?
Oh, why don't you settle that with Daddy later? I'm not sure what their value is, and he will know.
That'll be fine, Mrs. Darcy. Thank you, and good day.
Good day, sir.
Lucille!
Yes, Daddy, I'm right here.
Oh, Lucille, this is terrible.
What, Daddy? Well, you look as though you'd seen it go.
I almost have. And I'm likely to see more unless we get rid of that confounded box.
What box? Oh, the one that came this morning from Holland.
Yes. It's still here, isn't it? Where is it? What? It's been opened.
Why, you opened it yourself when it arrived.
Oh, may heaven have mercy on us.
What is it, Daddy? What's happened?
Why, it's this. This letter. It just came a few minutes ago from Holland.
Yes?
From the agents there. They warned me not to open the box. The plague has broken out in Holland, and they believe it was brought in this very shipment. The one this box came in.
But, Daddy...
No one has received anything from it, have they?
I just gave Mr. Kent his goods from it this very minute.
Oh, it can't be. It can't be. The plague spreads like fire once it's started.
Well, I'll go after him and get the things back.
No, Lucille. No. We daren't. We can't tell anyone. Not anyone, do you understand?
What if Mr. Kent...
No one. If it starts here, no one must know where it came from. I'd be ruined.
But the box, Daddy, what'll we do with it?
We'll burn it. That's it. We'll take it out and burn it. And we'll pray that the goods Kent took out of it were untainted.
Lucille. Oh, thank heaven you've come.
You said 2 weeks, Harry. I've come at the time you said.
Come in, Lucille. I hoped it was you. I answered the door myself. I've hardly been able to contain myself waiting for you, my darling.
Daddy's been ill, or I would have been here yesterday.
Well, my father's ill, too. I've been worried to death. I couldn't leave here to come to you. The servants are frightened, and they won't go near him.
Frightened?
Yeah, there are so many ill in London now. The doctors are too busy to answer the calls. There's even talk of it's being the plague.
Oh, no.
Hadn't you heard it? Most of our friends have shut their houses up and gone away already. If it gets any worse, we'll have to do the same.
Oh, Harry, I'll go with you. I'll go anywhere or do anything to be with you. Take me to your father. I'll be his nurse. I'll take care of him. I can't let you go away and leave me here, especially not now.
Oh, darling, you're splendid. Come, I'll take you into him. He's well enough now. He seems better, and we'll talk to him. Tell him you're going to nurse him. Come on, this is his room back here. He sleeps on this floor.
Oh, Harry, it's going to be all right, isn't it?
I'm sure it is, my dearest. Ready?
Go ahead.
Father.
Harry, come in, boy.
Father, I've brought someone to see you.
Someone to see me? Everyone's afraid now. Who is it?
It's a young lady who wants to help you. She's going to be your nurse, Father.
How do you do, Mr. Moore?
Young lady, aren't you frightened? Everyone else is?
Not at all. Now, just rest yourself, because I'm used to this. And we'll be all right.
Yes. Who is this, Harry?
Miss Darcy, Father. Very good friend of mine.
Darcy?
Well, yes, Father. Lucille.
You dare.
Oh, Harry, he mustn't get upset this way.
Oh, now, don't mind Lucille. He's always had a sudden temper. He'll be all right.
You dare bring that woman here. I'm a sick man. You're trying to kill me.
No, Father. Lucille is going to take care of you. You'll see how fine she is. You'll see.
I won't stand for it. You'll see. I won't have it. She may stay forever, but I won't receive her here. Take care of me, indeed.
But, Mr. Moore, Oh, Harry, I'm going.
Lucille, no, please. Wait just a minute. It'll be all right.
Oh, all right, indeed. Harry, my own son, trying to kill his father.
Father, rest a while. Think. Just think what this may mean. Lucille here. You'll know her. You'll love her as I do.
Love her? Oh, you fool boy. Can't you see what you're doing? You'll kill me. Kill me?
Perhaps we'd better go outside, Harry, just for a little while.
Yes. Father, we're going now. Rest yourself and think. We'll be in the next room.
How dare he, bringing someone like that into my house?
Oh, Lucille, I'm ashamed. I'm sorry. It was awful for you.
He's very ill, darling. He doesn't know everything he's saying.
Sometimes, Lucille, I think you're an angel. No one else would take it that way. No one else would understand.
But we're in love. I can't help understanding everything about you.
But he was so terrible, so much worse than I dreamed he'd dare to be.
Oh, my darling, don't you be afraid. Everything will be all right. It surely must be.
The servants. If only I could get them to go near him. But they threatened to leave if they had to serve him. Darling, I'd like to send you home again. I'll come to you right away.
No, you don't understand me very well if you think I'd leave now. I came to help you and to help your father. Perhaps I can win his gratitude and make him understand. I want to try. I really want to try.
Oh, you're wonderful. You have the spirit of a true woman. Darling, if you would stay even after the way he's acted, I'd...
Harry, what is it? You're not feeling well.
It's nothing, just my head. For 2 weeks now, I've suffered with the most awful headaches. They pass quickly, though. It's all right.
Just sit down here and let me stroke your forehead.
Yeah.
There, now it'll be better.
Oh, your hand. So cool. Oh, darling, just the touch of you makes everything all right.
We will be all right, Harry. We've got to be all right. Nothing can touch us. Nothing.
I shouldn't have let you come. What if you should become marked with the sickness?
Don't fear that. Nothing will happen to us. We're safe in our love.
But, Father, what if he really has the plague? What?
It won't happen to us, dearest. As for your father, don't worry. There are ways of getting him to agree with us. Don't worry about that. Everything will be all right. I'll take care of that. Yes. Don't you worry, Harry. I will take care of that.
Lucille? Lucille?
Yes, Harry. You've been in there with your father so long.
I know, darling. He's very ill. I'm afraid...
He hasn't got any better since I've been here. I know. But I can do no more.
I know, darling. I know there isn't anything anyone can do.
You look ill yourself, dearest. Are you all right? You won't let me help you.
I'm all right. It's just these headaches. Father's sent me out, Lucille. He wants something.
Are you going out of the house?
Yes, darling.
But it isn't safe. No one goes out. Only the men driving the carts that carry away.
No, don't think of those things, Lucille. They're too horrible. I'll be careful.
Where do you have to go?
To Father's lawyer. He wants him to come here.
His lawyer?
Father's afraid he's going to die.
But he may live for days, for weeks. He might...
But he wants to be sure. Something about his will, the people in his house.
And then again, on second thought, perhaps he will die, Harry. Perhaps he will. But hurry, dearest, hurry. If he wants to see him, hurry. He may die even before you get back.
Why?
He may,
Lucille.
Harry. You can never tell.
Lucille, you're not serious.
It's a serious thing. No, go. Go on. Get the lawyer. Everything will be all right. I'll go in and take care of your father.
Wait for me, darling. Wait. I'll be back right away.
His money. His money. That's all he's worried about. As though that made any difference. It's not his money I want. Yes, hurry, darling, hurry. Because things may happen before you return.
Harry, are you back?
No, it's Lucille, Mr. Moore. Harry's just left.
Go away. I want Harry. I must see my lawyer. I must see...
Be quiet now, Mr. Moore. You'll be all right. Just let me put this compress on your forehead.
I don't want that compress. Put it down. I don't want kindness from you. I want to remember how I hate you.
You do hate me, don't you? You hate me enough to want to kill me.
Where's Harry? Where's the lawyer? You tried to steal everything I've got.
Is that what's really worrying you, your money? That's not worrying me.
My estate. To a shopkeeper's daughter. To a common woman.
Be careful. Be careful, Mr. Moore. You're a sick man. You're dangerously sick. More dangerously than you know. Right now, you may die. Do you hear me? You may die even before they get back.
No. I have to see them. I'm going to see my son again.
Why?
He's bringing the lawyer. Mr. Stone is coming.
It is your money, then. Your money.
My name, too. My name, too. A creature like you.
Your name. One might think that was worth anything anymore. What's wrong with the name I have? What's wrong with Darcy?
Darcy. When the name of Moore is in question. Everyone knows the secret now. Everyone knows. This confounded plague started with the Darcys. And it seems to me that you're part of it.
Darcy, the plague. And it finishes the Moors. It finishes the Moors. Do you understand, Mr. Moore? It finishes the Moors.
Where's Harry?
You'll wait, Mr. Moore. You'll wait a long time before you see him again. No man can despise me, call me common, and drag my name in the dust as you have. No one, do you hear? You're going to wait a long time. I'm going to put this compress on you, whether you like it or not.
No.
Lucille? Lucille? What is it? Where are you?
Oh, Harry. Harry, come quickly.
Darling, what is it?
Harry, your father, he...
Lucille. Poor father. Dead. Oh, I can't believe it. He must have struggled at the end.
He was weak. So weak, Harry. He could hardly move.
This compress. It must have slipped over his face when he died.
Yes, it must have. Oh, Harry, I wanted to have him like me. And want me to marry you.
He would have, Lucille. He would have. He had to love you.
I went out. I called to the servants. I wanted somebody to help me, but there was no one here.
The servants have all left. They were too frightened to stay. All of London is frightened. Frightened and quiet. It's better in here.
Oh, Harry,
I feel so weak. So terrible.
Come with me, darling. Come out of here.
Yes.
There. We'll feel better in the sitting room.
But the lawyer. You went for a lawyer. Where is he?
He's coming. He said he'd come. But it's no use now, I guess. No use.
Harry, your father, he wanted you at the end. But he died before I could reach him. He died without saying anything. He died before I got there.
But, Lucille, you said...
He couldn't talk. He hated me. He hated me, and he would never have forgiven me.
Be
Never
quiet,
would have.
darling. Be quiet. Now, sit still there for a minute.
He looked at me with those horrible red eyes, and he called me common. There was no one there.
Stop, Lucille. No. This isn't true. Tell me it isn't.
No, Harry, no, don't touch me. Your father, And you have it, too. You have it, too. Look, I can see it in your eyes. The fever's in you, too.
Lucille, you're delirious. It isn't true. Nothing you're saying is true.
No, go away.
This can't be real. I'm going in to see.
No, Harry.
I don't believe you.
No. Harry, please don't go in there.
Let go of me, Lucille.
Please, stay away from there.
Go back, Lucille. Please, now. Calm yourself. Go back into the other room. I'll be right back. I just want to see.
But you don't have to see anymore. You don't have to see anything.
Please, Lucille.
No, Harry, no, please, no.
Well, come with me, then, if you want. But I must see what's happened. It's true, then.
Oh, Harry, I couldn't help it. I couldn't.
You murdered him.
No, I didn't.
Lucille.
He asked for you, Harry. I went to him and he looked at me.
Lucille, tell me again you didn't. This cloth, it was a compress. It slipped. It must have slipped down on his face when he moved. Lucille, tell me.
Yes, Harry, I couldn't live always with that on my mind. I couldn't face you.
Oh, Lucille, you couldn't have.
Harry! Harry, come with me.
Oh.
Let me hold you.
Oh. I'm so weak, Lucille.
Here, let me help you. Just come with me into the other room. It's horrible in here.
Oh,
Here,
Lucille.
lean on me, that's it.
Yeah.
Just lean on my shoulder.
Yeah.
Come on.
Oh, I need you, Lucille. I don't believe
In here, that's it.
Oh.
In here, my darling.
Mm-hmm.
Here, I'll loosen your clothes.
Oh, that's better, Lucille. It's better.
There. Oh, Harry, speak to me. Don't just look at me like that.
Lucille, tell me you didn't.
Oh, my darling. How can I tell you? How can I live?
Lucille, my father, he died alone, didn't he?
No. I was with him. Oh, Harry. Harry! Speak to me. Harry, please, speak to me. Oh, no. The lawyer. They've come. I must go and answer and let them in. But I can't. I can't let them into a house of death. Look, everyone, look at the house where misery has become massive. I'm coming. Did someone come to help? They'll see what happened. Yes, you may come in, sir. You may come into the house of death.
You too, come in and see.
All the world will see soon enough. How do I look? Like a murderess? Like a woman who has committed a crime? An unholy soul condemned for the rest of her life? Yes, I'm coming.
Why so much impatience, Mr. Stone? You'll find no business here. No business but with the dead. My love is dead. Everything is dead. Come in, sir. Yes, come in.
Oh, Mr. Moore sent for me. Will you be so good as to tell him I'm here?
There is no Mr. Moore here.
What's the matter, girl? Are you mad? But this is his house. I've been coming here for years.
Mr. Moore is no longer here.
But his son came to call for me just a minute ago.
Come in if you wish. If you dare to enter a house in London now, come in and see for yourself.
Well, yes, his room's right back this way. I'll go back.
That's the way to Mr. Moore's room, all right, but you will find only...
But isn't that Harry in there in the sitting room?
It's not Harry.
Why, yes, it is. Doesn't he see me? He's looking right at me.
Harry's not there.
Dear girl, what on earth's wrong with you? What's going on in this house?
There's nothing right here, Mr. Stone. Nothing can ever be right here again.
Oh, you know my name?
Of course. You would have known mine one day if...
Well, who are you?
A condemned woman.
What? Who are you?
Who are you, for that matter? You're a stranger, wandering in the wilderness, too. But you're not tortured. You're not lost.
Well, you amaze me.
Mr. Moore is not here. Look. Look, I say.
Why, yes, of course he's here. There he is on the bed.
That is not Mr. Moore. Mr. Moore is gone.
Gone? My dear girl. Wait a moment. What's that on your face, child?
On my face? Tears.
No, not that. That mark on the side of your face.
A mark?
Yes, it seems even to be spreading as I watch it.
A mark? Let me see in the mirror. In the sunlight now with the door open, I can see it. No, it can't be. I'll wipe it off. I'll stock it out. It'll go away. It'll go away. It must go away.
Stop that. Stop it, child. That will do no good.
It'll do no good. It'll do no good. That thing on my face, it will spread and spread. That's a part of my shame, a part of my punishment. No, it must go away. It must. I'll tear it out. It can't be. It can't be. But it is. It is. The mark of the plague.
From the time-worn pages of the past, we have brought you The Mark of the Plague. Bellkeeper, toll the bell.
Our next broadcast was one of the premier drama programs of the golden age of radio and was subtitled Radio's Outstanding Theater of Thrills and focused on suspense thriller-type scripts, usually featuring leading Hollywood actors of the era. Approximately 945 episodes were broadcast during its long run, and more than 900 still exist. The protagonist was usually a normal person suddenly dropped into a threatening or bizarre situation. Solutions were withheld until the last possible second, and evildoers were usually punished by the end. We present to you Suspense on HOJO Radio.
Suspense. This is the Man in Black, here again to introduce Columbia's program, Suspense. If you have been with us on these Tuesday nights, you will know that suspense is compounded of mystery and suspicion and dangerous adventure. In this series are tales calculated to intrigue you, to stir your nerves, to offer you a precarious situation, and then withhold the solution until the last possible moment. And so with 5 canaries in the room, and the performances of Ona Munson as Anita, Osa Masson as Fifi, and with Lee Bowman as Ronald Denham, who tells the story, we again hope to keep you in suspense.
The trouble was, you see, that the whole apartment vanished. It's true. The flat disappeared straight out of that apartment house, and the dead man disappeared with it. No, I'm not crazy. And in spite of what they said, I hadn't taken too many drinks. You see, I was getting married to Anita in another 2 weeks, and Jimmy Westlake gave a bachelor party for me. Oh, hang it, it's a situation that might have happened to you. The party was at the old Cap and Bells Club on Lower Fifth Avenue, and it wasn't a brawl. Jimmy Westlake was in the chair, I admit, but nothing could have been more quiet, more dignified.
Oh, mademoiselle from Armitage, parlez-vous. Mademoiselle from Armitage, parlez-vous. Oh, mademoiselle from Armitage.
Quiet, you fellas! Quiet! Pipe down, can't you? Wait a minute. The chairman wants to say something.
Gentlemen, this is a solemn occasion. If those dopes over there will kindly get away from the piano and sit down at the table, I have another toast to propose.
Excuse me, Mr. Westlake. Excuse me, please, sir.
Yes, Uncle Cato, what is it?
Excuse me, Mr. Westlake, but you ain't gonna bust the glasses on this toast, is you?
And why shouldn't we bust the glasses, Uncle Cato? Why shouldn't we bust the glasses?
Oh, but Mr. Westlake, if you keep on busting the glasses, there ain't gonna be no glasses left.
Well, in that sad eventuality, Uncle Cato, we will simply start busting the plates. Isn't that fair enough, boys?
Every goblet in the so-and-so place. Oh, we'll bust every goblet in the so-and-so place.
Oh, look, Jimmy, don't you think you'd better tone the gang down a little?
Be quiet, Ron. You're only the groom.
Yeah, I know, Jimmy, but...
Gentlemen, I regret to tell you this, but the protesting voice you just heard was that of our guest of honor, Ronald Denham. Now, we all know Ron, and we all like him. But I am sorry to say he is not himself. Where now is the terror of nightclubs, the chorus girl's friend? I say it to his face. He is sober. But we like him just the same. Friends, guests, and bachelors, I give you the groom.
Please, gentlemen, don't bust the glasses.
Hey, come on, Ron. Come on, say a few words.
That's right, Ron. Get out.
Come on.
Now, look, boys, I thank you for all the good words, and I don't want to be a wet blanket on the party, but it's nearly midnight, and I've got to get home early. Don't you understand, boys? I'm a reformed character.
Yeah, how's Fifi Latour?
I haven't seen Fifi for over a year. She doesn't mean anything to me anymore.
He thinks he doth protest too much.
Oh, now, look, I'm marrying the sweetest girl in the world, but Anita's a little, well, straight-laced.
Oh, yeah.
You know how it is. What's more, there's my Uncle Rufus.
Uncle Rufus.
Quiet!
Anita and Uncle Rufus have apartments in the same building as I have. And what's more, they're on the same floor, and that's not all. Tom Evans, the fellow I share my flat
Wait a
with.
minute. Where is Tom Evans tonight? What's the matter with him?
Tom works for Uncle Rufus, and he doesn't drink.
Oh, he works for Uncle Rufus.
Hey, fellas.
And he never takes a drink. Oh, he works for Uncle Rufus.
Quiet, you baboons. Quiet.
He's a roaring laundry broker, and he's never in his ink.
Now, wait a minute. Will you put yourselves in my place? My girl and my uncle and my best friend, Tom Evans, are all expecting me to come home from this party in an ash cart.
Sure.
And I'm going to fool them.
Are you sure it's not so?
Oh, now have a heart, can't you?
This Uncle Rufus must be a pretty tough egg, isn't he?
Oh, he's all right, but after his first $1 million, it went to his head.
Has he got any human weaknesses?
Yes, he keeps canaries. Oh, no, not the kind of canaries you're thinking. I mean the kind that go tweet-tweet in cages. Oh, what's the use?
What do you say, gentlemen? Shall we allow this pure in heart to wend his way home?
He's got a drink for the bride, though.
That's right, Ron. Can you, as a chivalrous gentleman, refuse to drink to the bride? You can't, and you know you can't. Uncle Cato.
Yes, sir, Mr. Westlake.
Get a beer mug from the sideboard there. Fill it with champagne.
Oh, now, wait a minute, Jim.
One more drink won't hurt you, Shirley. Just one little drink.
Well, no, I suppose not.
Fill it up, Uncle Cato.
All right, I'll have one more drink, just in honor of the occasion. But that's all, do you understand? That's absolutely all.
sir. 098 Park Avenue. Hey, mister. Come on, wake up.
What's wrong?
Well, you're home, mister. This is the apartment house.
Oh, yeah. Yes, of course.
All right,
Thanks.
Out we go. Easy now. Are you sure you're all right?
Yeah. Yes, I'm all right. I've been to a bachelor party.
Yeah, sure, I know. Well, take it easy now.
I can't see straight. The whole street's going around. The funny part is I only had a couple of drinks. They must have put something in that last one.
Well, it's none of my business, mister, but I wouldn't tell that to the missus if I was you.
It's absolutely true.
Oh, sure. I know.
And I haven't got a missus. Not yet. My word of honor, I'm a reformed character. I have nothing to do with any woman except...
Ronald Denham. As I live and breathe, it is Ronald Denham.
Fifi Latour.
Oh, Cherie, how good it is to see you. I look everywhere for you. I cry my eyes out, but I don't find you. What are you doing here?
I live here, Fifi. I moved.
Oh, you tried to get away from me, yes?
Yes. No, I mean... Here's your money, driver. Night.
Well, good night, sir. It's a friend of yours, lady. You better take care of him.
I'd take care of him. Yes, you bet you. My poor Ron. I forgive you this time because you've been on the wrestle-dazzle and you need someone to take care of you. You live in this building, yes?
Yes. 5th floor,
Oh, good. I take you to your apartment.
No.
You say no, eh? And why not?
Because you mustn't go in there.
Oh, there's another woman.
What?
Oh, yes?
Well, yes. The fact is, Fifi, I'm going to get married.
Married?
Oh, for heaven's sake, Fifi, don't make a scene in the middle of the street.
Oh, you break my heart, eh? Right in the middle of Park Avenue, you take my heart and you break it bang, bang.
Fifi, please.
Now I tell you what you do. You will take me to your apartment this very minute.
No, definitely no.
You will give me 1 cigarette and 1 brandy. You will tell me what this means. Oh, I warn you, by golly, I start screaming so they can hear me at City Hall.
I can't do it, Fifi.
All right, then I start screaming.
No, wait a minute. Oh, of all the times in the world, you had to pick this.
Do I go along, Cherie? Yes or no?
Well, if I do take you, Fifi, will you promise to be good?
Cherie, I am always good.
You won't kick up a row or start banging at doors. Oh, if Anita heard of this.
Anita? And who is she?
Oh, never mind. I'm too groggy to argue. Come on. I remember going into that building. Dim religious light, deep carpets, an automatic elevator that you work yourself. I remember stepping into that elevator because the floor creaked. I remember pressing the button for the 5th floor. I took Fifi with me, and I took her into what the champagne told me was my own flat. Maybe you think that's funny, but it won't be funny much longer. Either the door of the flat was unlocked or my key fitted it. Anyway, I remember stumbling through the little hall inside, getting a light on, and into the living room. I remember sitting back in an easy chair, thanking the Lord I was home.
You don't mind if I take my coat off, Cherie?
Look, Fifi, couldn't you just go home?
I want to talk to you, Cherie. And this is one very nice flat. I like it.
Thanks a lot.
You and Tom Evans, you have good taste in furniture.
We didn't choose the furniture, Fifi.
This girl of yours chose it, I suppose?
No, it comes with the flat.
Oh, you mean?
Well, these are furnished flats. They're all furnished exactly alike except for the personal things you bring yourself. Like that picture on the wall behind me.
What picture, Cherie?
The painting of the clipper ship over there.
But, Cherie, your eyes are funny and you cannot see straight. There's no picture on that wall.
Wait a minute.
What's wrong? Why you jump up?
We don't own any bronze bookends. And the lampshades are different. And, Fifi, we're in the wrong flat.
Oh, well, then that explains everything.
Explains what?
It explains about the canary birds.
What canary birds?
When we first come in here, I think I hear a lot of birds sing. And I think, ooh la la, this is a funny taste for Ron Denham and Tom Evans. But then...
Uncle Rufus. Great Scott. Uncle Rufus.
This uncle of yours, he keep canary birds?
Yes, 5 of them, but this isn't his flat. I know his flat as well as I know my own. Where'd you hear the singing?
Behind that door over there, where I point.
That ought to be the door to the dining room. But, what was that?
Oh, there's a car backfire. Maybe yes.
Maybe no, unless they keep cars in dining rooms. That was a gun.
It came from the dining room.
Yeah, I think so.
Quick, Let's get out of here.
Oh, no, we don't. I've been pushed around tonight till I'm good and mad, and I'm just about crazy enough to find out what this is all about.
You're not going to open that door.
You just watch me. There's a light in that room anyway.
How you know?
Look under the sill of the door. Not a very bright light, but...
Ron, don't do it.
Stand back now while I get the door open. Dining room. Not Uncle Rufus. And
5 canary birds.
5 canaries in cages, all in a line. Where in Satan's name are we?
Well, sure, I don't know.
Whose flat is this? Who except Uncle Rufus would keep 5 canaries?
I tell you one thing, though, and then I go out of here.
Well?
There's somebody watching us.
Where?
That swing door to the kitchen is partly open. But don't look.
How the devil can I see it if I don't look?
There's somebody standing behind it. I see the light shine on his eye.
Quiet, Fifi. Hello there. Hello there.
The door move a little more. He's pushing it.
Oh, excuse me, sir. We didn't mean to barge in here. We're not burglars or anything like that. We got into the wrong flat, that's all. I want to apologize if we... Straight out through the door, on his face.
What's the matter with him? Why don't he move?
I've got an idea, Fifi. It's because he's dead. He was a little fat man with eyeglasses and a spade-shaped beard. He looked foreign somehow. And there was a bullet hole over his heart. You ask me what happened then? I don't know. Fifi turned and ran. At least I think she did. I bent over the man to make sure he was dead. And then something hit me. As though it hadn't been enough of a nightmare already, I could hear that blackjack strike the back of my skull. And everything exploded. I couldn't get my breath, and I seemed to be swimming in dark water. The next voice I heard wasn't Fifi's at all. It was Anita's. And...
Ron Denham.
Oh, my head. Oh, Lord, my head.
Well, I'm not at all surprised.
What's that, Anita? I can't hear you.
I said I'm not at all surprised. Of all the disgraceful, dissolute objects I ever saw.
Anita, where am I?
Oh, darling, as though you didn't know.
But I don't know. My head feels like a printing press in full blast.
Well, you're out in the main hall, dear, on the 5th floor, sitting on the stairs beside the elevator shaft.
That's true. But how did I get here?
Oh, now, really, Ron.
I must have been carried here. That's it.
By your drunken friends at the club? Well, I don't doubt it in the least.
No, Anita. No, you don't understand. I left that party early. I was cold sober. But the low hounds wanted to see me come home in bad shape. So they put something in my glass.
Oh, naturally, Ron. Whiskey or champagne?
Oh, no, Anita. I mean a drug of some kind. I was dizzy when I got here. Just as I was getting out of the taxi, I met...
Well, go on, dear. Whom did you meet?
Nobody, Anita. Nobody at all. I came up here to what I thought was my own flat, but it wasn't my flat. It was somebody else's. There were a lot of canaries singing and a dead man with a bullet hole in his chest. And... Well, this sounds pretty crazy, doesn't it?
Yes, dear, it certainly does.
Yeah, but it's true.
Oh, Ron, I suppose I've got to forgive you. I always do forgive you. Now run along like a good boy and sleep it off, hmm?
Listen, Anita. There's a dead man in one of these flats.
A dead man? In which flat?
Well, that's just it. I don't know.
You're not saying it's on this floor?
Yes, I definitely remember pressing the button for the 5th floor.
Suppose you listen to me, dear. Now, don't make faces and rumple your hair. Just listen. There are only 2 other apartments on this floor. One is your uncle.
It wasn't his. I'll swear to that.
Well, and the other is mine. You don't think I'm hiding a dead man?
No, it wasn't your flat either.
Well, then where is it, darling? A whole flat can't vanish and take the dead man along, can it?
No. But I'll tell you something else, Anita. I've seen that man's face somewhere before.
Well, whose face?
The dead man's. Thick eyeglasses, square black beard, something foreign about it. I've seen him, or I've seen his picture, or...
Oh, Ron, please.
What's wrong?
It's the elevator. Somebody's coming up. Oh, please don't let people see you. Your hat's smashed in and your tie's untied, and you look like nothing on earth.
Well, look here, Anita. If it comes to that, what are you doing out in the hall in negligee and pajamas?
Well, I wanted to make sure you got home safely. Ron, the elevator, it's Tom Evans and your Uncle Rufus.
All right, I can take it.
But your uncle can't. Now, don't say anything to him about this dead man. Promise me.
Hold on, I've got it. Pierre Duroc.
Who?
Pierre Duroc. That's the dead man's name. He...
And furthermore, Evans, you may state to me that in this year of 1938, the prospect of a European war is so remote as not to be worth serious consideration.
Excuse me, sir, but isn't that a little strong?
Now, don't argue with me, Evans.
No, sir.
You may tell my secretary to... Look here. What's this?
Well, now look, Uncle Rufus.
Oh, I can't stand any more of this. I'm fed up.
Well, I don't blame you, my dear. Has this nephew of mine been annoying you again?
Oh, no, of course not, but please don't pay any attention to him. He's drunk.
For the last time, I am not drunk. I just want to ask Uncle Rufus, before I go completely nuts, whether he hasn't heard of Pierre Duroc.
What's that, Ronald? What'd you say?
Pierre Duroc, the French millionaire.
Well, what about him?
He's the man who always deals in cash on the line. Spot cash, even if it's $1 million. I saw his picture in the paper. He's in New York to put through a business deal with you, isn't he?
Oh, indeed, Ronald. Well, you show a commendable interest in my affairs.
Well, that's what you want me to do, isn't it?
Well, I believe Duroc does want to buy some property I own, but he hasn't approached me and I haven't approached him. It's a bad business. Why have you developed this sudden interest in Duroc?
Because he's dead.
Dead?
Somebody shot him in a room full of canaries and then slugged me over the head. Do you believe me, Evans?
If your uncle will excuse me, old man, I don't see any reason not to believe you. Where's the body?
Well, that's the trouble. Ron claims he found it in a flat that doesn't exist. Listen. What's that?
Sounded like somebody running upstairs in the devil of a hurry.
Well, maybe it's the dead man.
As a matter of fact, it's the night porter. He's the one who can tell us.
Tell us what?
Well, maybe I did get off at a different floor, but that flat's got to be somewhere in this building. Pearson? Oh, just a minute. Pearson!
I'm very sorry, sir. I can't stop now. Please stand aside. I got to go upstairs and get the manager.
Why, Pearson? Is anything wrong?
Well, Mr. Evans.
Speak up, man. Is anything wrong?
It's the police, sir. We found a dead man in the palm garden downstairs.
Now do you believe me?
You will oblige me, all of you, if you remain quiet and allow me to deal with this. What does this man look like, Pearson?
He's a foreign-looking gentleman, sir. I never saw him before. He doesn't live in the building.
Well, then how did he get to the palm garden?
Well, sir, that's what we don't know. He certainly wasn't there when I looked in half an hour ago. But I went back to the palm garden just by chance, and there he was in a wicker chair with the singing birds in cages all around him.
Birds again?
Oh, be quiet, Ronald.
He'd been shot, sir. The police think he was brought down in the service elevator from somewhere upstairs.
Why do they think that?
Of course, they found a revolver in that elevator and a little paper band of the kind that goes around banknotes. If they could tell where the dead man came from...
You can tell us where he came from.
Huh? I can, sir.
Yes, you've been in most of the flats in this building, haven't you?
I've been inside all of them, sir. Why?
Well, would you recognize any given flat if I described it?
Yes, sir, certainly, but...
Well, then, for the love of Mike, think. Who lives in a flat with 5 canary cages in the dining room?
Ronald, are you out of your mind? In case you don't happen to remember, you're describing my place.
No, it was like your place, but it wasn't at all the same. Oriental prints on the walls. In the living room, bronze bookends and bronze lamps. Dragon patterns on the lampshades. There was a queer kind of clock on the mantelpiece, shaped like a figure of Father Time. And what's the matter with you, Pearson?
Nothing, sir. But you're sure you saw all that?
Yes, of course I'm sure. Why not?
Because, I'm sorry, sir, but you couldn't have seen it.
What do you mean I couldn't have seen it? I did see it. Who lives in the blasted place?
Nobody.
Well, you mean the flat's vacant?
No, sir. I mean, there's no such flat in the whole building.
And that's the position I was in when the police took us down to that palm garden to see the body. I never did like the palm garden much. It's a big, dimly lighted hollow of a place, with bird cages beside the palms and an artificial goldfish pond in the middle. I liked it even less at 3 o'clock in the morning with a dead man looking at me from his chair. They sent us in one at a time. I was first to see the homicide squad officer. And there was Inspector Braddock, a big, sleepy-looking hulk with a hat like a pirate, sitting on a bench throwing pebbles at that pond. Back would go his arm, and a pebble would hit the water. Back would go his arm, and a pebble would hit the water.
And that's all you got to tell me, Mr. Dunham?
Yeah, that's all, Inspector. It happens to be true.
Oh, I believe you. After all, son, we've got corroboration.
Corroboration from whom?
From your other girlfriend, Fifi Latour.
But Fifi's not here. She ran out of here as soon as Duroc's body fell through that door.
Yes, but she didn't run far. A cop wondered why she was running and brought her back.
Where's Fifi now?
In that room there, talking to your official girlfriend.
Oh, that's fine. That's beautiful. The one thing I didn't tell Anita.
Why don't you wake up?
Wake up? How?
This isn't post office any longer. It's murder. And one of that gang out there shot Pierre Duroc.
Are you serious?
Serious. Sure, I'm serious. This is as clever and slick and mean a trick as ever went on the blotter. Pierre Duroc was one of the goats. You were the other. This uncle of yours is a fairly important guy, isn't he?
Wait a minute. Just exactly what are you saying about the old boy?
I'm saying he gets lots of publicity. This hobby of his, keeping dicky birds, must be pretty well known.
Yes, I suppose so.
All right. So if Duroc came to visit your uncle tonight...
You say if Duroc came to visit my uncle.
What you're forgetting, son, is that Duroc's an important man, too. He's a visiting foreigner, capital letters, and the department's got to keep an eye on him. Duroc did go to visit your uncle tonight, and he was carrying $20,000 in cash.
What are you intimating?
Murder.
Inspector Braddock.
Yes, Sergeant?
That crowd out there is raising Cain, especially the old man and the French gal. Shall I let him in?
Yeah, you can let him in now.
No, more than an hour. Sitting in an anteroom without even hearing why we're here. I tell you, the evidence is intolerable.
It's all right, sir. They probably know what they're doing.
You think so, my friend? But I still don't know why I'm here.
How very interesting, Miss Latour. Such extreme absent-mindedness. Well, perhaps Ron could tell you why you're here.
Oh, listen, Anita, I can explain everything.
Can you explain the disappearing apartment? Well, that's better. I'd like, if you don't mind, to have a little quiet here. Now, which one of you is Mr. Rufus Denham?
I am Rufus Denham, sir. Rufus Denham of Denham & Company. Can there be any doubt whatever about that?
No, but I thought I'd ask. I was just telling your nephew, Mr. Denham, that Pierre Duroc came here tonight to see you.
To see me, Inspector?
That's right.
I can only characterize that statement, sir, as a flat and downright lie. I've never met that man.
I didn't say you met him. I said he came here to see you. Duroc wanted to buy some property from you, didn't he?
Well, suppose he did.
And Duroc always paid spot cash, didn't he?
Yes, I believe so.
Just one more question. I imagine you've got a secretary.
Yes, naturally I've got a secretary, Miss Helen Gardner. What about her?
Somebody, posing as your secretary, telephoned Duroc at the Metropolis Hotel and spoke to him in very good French.
Well, Inspector, don't stop there. Go on.
This person, pretending to represent Rufus Denham, asked Duroc to come here with the money and said they could settle the deal immediately. Don't you see the trick now? Don't you see Duroc was lured into a dummy apartment?
A dummy apartment? What does this man mean?
I'll tell you. All the flats are furnished exactly alike except for personal things. Pictures, books, lampshades, ornaments. Is that correct?
Yes, of course it is.
The murderer didn't dare use Rufus Denham's real flat. But the murderer could always decorate an imitation flat, so that Pierre Duroc would be deceived when he saw...
5 canary birds.
That's it, son.
But what was the idea?
A very neat swindle. Look at Duroc's body now.
Oh, I can't look at it.
Look at his thick glasses. Well, the man was half blind. This so-called secretary, disguised, would meet Duroc in an imitation flat. Duroc would hand over the money and get forged title deeds in return. When Duroc had gone, the flat could be put right again and no evidence left.
But, something went wrong,
That's right. Something went wrong. Duroc suspected.
And had to be killed.
Right again.
Inspector Braddock, who is the murderer?
Can't you guess?
Green Gnome. I think I know how it all happened.
Do you, Miss Latour? Oh, it's very smart of you.
This poor Ronald of mine, he is at a bachelor party. They do not think that he will be home until daylight. But he get reformed and come home early. He blundered straight into that flat in time to interrupt.
In time to interrupt a murder, yes. Afterwards, when you were supposed to run away...
But I did run away.
Sure, Miss Latour, I'm admitting you did.
Then why do you look at me as though I didn't?
Afterwards, as I was saying, the murderer had to hit Ronald Denham over the head and drag him out in the hall. Duroc's body was brought down here along with the canary cages that had been borrowed from here, and the dummy flat was set right again.
Just one moment, Inspector Raddock. I'm not disputing anything you say, but...
Well, sir, what's on your mind?
The murderer.
What about the murderer?
Well, all this. Wouldn't it have been much too heavy a job for a woman?
Who said the murderer was a woman?
Well, didn't you?
I don't think I did. I said the murderer was somebody who planned a swindle. And you still don't see it, any of you, because you can't find the dummy flat.
Well, no, and I can't find it myself. That's one question you've got to answer here and now. Where in Satan's name did I go? Whose flat was I in?
Your own.
What? My own?
Naturally. If you'd been cold sober, you might have made a mistake. But your instinct brought you home to your own flat. And the only possible murderer is the man who shares that flat with you. The man who thought you'd be away until daylight. The man who knows enough about Denham's business affairs to plan this swindle against Duroc.
Look out, Inspector Braddock.
Grab him, Sergeant. Thomas Evans, I arrest you for the murder of Pierre Duroc.
Good Lord. Evans. Well, that's about all there is to the story. Anita and I were married last week. She's a wonderful girl. I tried to talk her into our staying on in my old flat, but she said she just had to have an apartment which didn't have such a habit of disappearing. But we're very happy. We agree about everything, don't we, dear?
Oh, practically everything, darling. But I still don't think it was cute of Fifi to send up 3 dozen canaries for a wedding present.
And so closes 5 Canaries in the Room, starring Ona Munson, Lee Bowman, and Osa Masson. Tonight's tale of suspense. This is your narrator, the Man in Black, who conveys to you Columbia's invitation to spend this half hour in suspense with us again next Tuesday, when our suspense play will be Last Night by Cornell Woolrich, and will star more of your Hollywood favorites. The producer of these broadcasts is William Spear, with Ted Bliss, the director, Lud Gluskin and Lucian Marwick, conductor and composer, and John Dixon Carr, the author, collaborated on tonight's Suspense.
This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
HOJO Radio, where the classics come alive.
Suspense. This is the Man in Black, here again to introduce Columbia's program, Suspense. Heading our Hollywood cast is a young lady known simply as Margot, whose talent for the art of suspense has been heard before on this series. Tonight, Margot, using the name of Jacqueline Blaine, tells of strange happenings on a Jude ranch, including the hurried and unexplained departure of an important guest. Appearing with Margot is Mr. Kent Smith, a newcomer to our microphone, as Gil Blaine, a young man forced by unrelenting circumstances into many odd and mysterious actions. Margot will soon be seen in Behind the Rising Sun, and Ken Smith is currently appearing in This Land Is Mine, both RKO radio productions. The story by Cornell Woolrich called Last Night is tonight's tale of suspense. If you have been with us on these Tuesday nights, you will know that suspense is compounded of mystery and suspicion and dangerous adventure. In this series are tales calculated to intrigue you, stir your nerves, to offer you a precarious situation, and then withhold the solution until the last possible moment. And so it is with The Last Night and the performances of Margot and Kent Smith, we again hope to keep you in suspense.
Miss Blaine, it's late. Ain't you figuring on getting up at all?
Oh, yes. I'll be down in a minute, Leona. Go away now. I lay there looking up at the ceiling. Strange, I hadn't slept well last night. All night I had tossed and turned. Worry. That's what it was. Worry. The weekend was over, and Gil and I hadn't raised the $2,500. We were right back where we started from, stuck here in the Hudson Valley with our dude ranch that wasn't paying expenses, and the debts piling up like new snow. That was Gil in the shower. I lay still and listened to the hiss of the water. Poor Gil. It had been a tough weekend for him. Trying to be nice to Mr. Burroughs, neglecting the other guests to play up to him, flattering him, agreeing with everything he said. What was the use? I knew he'd never lend us the money. I knew it from the first. I never even wanted to invite him and his secretary up, but Gil had pinned his hopes on it. He'd worked so hard. Worked. Funny word to apply to it. Maybe if Gil had done some real work now and then instead...
Morning, Jackie.
Morning. Well, how did you make out? How did you make out with Mr. Burroughs? Gil, I'm talking to you. Is he still here?
Who?
Mr. Burroughs.
Oh, no, he left.
Well, I'm glad I didn't have to say goodbye to him. I got pretty tired of being nice to him, didn't you?
Yeah.
Took the 8 o'clock train?
8 o'clock. He took the milk train.
The milk train? How do you know?
Well, I drove him to the station. That's how I know.
Well, what were you doing up at that hour?
Well, I hadn't come to bed yet, that's all.
But what got into him? The milk train, why, that hits here about 4:30 in the morning, doesn't it?
About?
Well, I can't get it into my head why they should bolt off like that.
He went alone. His secretary's still here.
You mean he left without Marsh?
Yeah, Marsh was up in his room sleeping at the time. I guess Burroughs didn't want to wait for him.
He went off and left his secretary behind? Well, now, that's the strangest thing I ever heard of. Why did he bring him in the first place? You had a row with him, Gil. He turned you down and you let it get the best of you.
I did not.
That's why he suddenly decided to leave like that.
I did not, I tell you. Why should I say I didn't if I did?
Oh, I don't know. Everything is so mixed up. Gil, dear, want to toss me my dressing gown? It's on the chair there.
Oh, here you are, honey.
Oh.
Jackie?
Yes?
Jackie, I got it out of him.
What?
I got the $2,500.
Gil.
He finally gave in when I was driving him to the station.
Well, you got all of it?
The works.
I didn't think he would. I mean, the way he was acting.
Yes, I know, but he began to soften up after you'd gone to bed. When I asked him, he came through.
But, Gil, you mean he carries that much cash around with him?
Well, there it is, isn't it?
That's funny. You know, he came to me only yesterday and asked me where he could cash a $25 check.
Oh, yes, I know about that. I cashed it for him.
But the $2,500?
Well, he had that all ready for deposit when he got back to town Monday. Couldn't get it to the bank on time on Friday.
Oh.
He didn't want to touch it, but when I told him I'd rather have cash than the check, well, he just went the whole way and accommodated me.
Well, if there wasn't any friction, why did he leave at such an unearthly hour?
I don't know.
But, Gil...
And I don't care. Oh, look, baby. We got the money. Let's just be thankful.
Well, of course I'm thankful. It's just that...
Miss Blaine? Miss Blaine?
Yes, Leona.
Well, just about to give you two up. Miss Rose and Mr. Carmen's almost finished with the breakfast. Ain't you two coming?
Yes, in a minute, Leona. Come on, Gil. Let's hurry. It's hard enough to get paying guests without neglecting the ones we have.
Well, I done fixed up Mr. Burroughs' room while I was waiting for you.
Mr. Burroughs' room, but...
You didn't have to bother. He won't be using it anymore.
He won't?
No, he left.
You done left?
Why, yes. Leona, what's the matter?
And what about all them suits and things you left hanging up in the closet?
His clothes? Left in the closet? What about that, Gil?
Well, he left in an awful hurry, that's all. Oh, leave me alone. Don't let's talk about it.
All right. But somehow, I feel that something very strange happened last night.
That's what happened, Miss Nichols. I told him I wouldn't take any more stuff from him. Next time he tries it, it'll be too bad. For him.
Here comes Gil and Jackie.
Yeah.
Have some more eggs, Carmen?
Oh,
hello, Gil.
Oh, hello,
Jackie.
Gil.
What do you do so chummy about?
Why, we were just talking about Mr. Burroughs.
Mr. Burroughs?
Why, yes.
Mr. Carmen had an appointment to play golf with him today.
Golf?
Yeah, yes, fine player. Oh, by the way, where is he? I haven't seen him all morning.
He's not here.
Not here? Well, what do you mean?
He's left.
He left?
Yes, can't a guy leave if he wants to?
Sure,
Well, for one, I'm glad. He was an old goat.
He's mad because he made a pass at her.
Well, you didn't like him too well either, Carmen. You see, Carmen had a run-in with him back in the days of bootleg gin.
Oh.
Well, let's not talk about it.
Gil's right. Mr. Burroughs is gone. Let's forget it.
What's this?
Oh, Mr. Marsh.
What did you say about Mr. Burroughs leaving?
Do we have to go through this again?
Gil, please. Mr. Burroughs left on an early train.
Well, you're joking.
No, I'm not.
But I don't understand.
Well, you're his secretary. You ought to know what he's going to do.
That's right, Gil. I should know. That's why it's so strange. He told me we definitely were going to stay until this afternoon.
Well, he changed his mind.
Blaine, Frank. Oh, yes, and she's here. Just a minute. Miss Blaine. Miss Blaine, telephone.
Coming.
Excuse me, please.
Hello.
Mrs. Blaine?
Yes?
This is Mrs. Burroughs.
Oh, how do you do? We were awfully sorry you couldn't come out with Mr. Burroughs for the weekend. I'm sure you'd have
I think it
enjoyed
was most inconsiderate of Homer not to let me know he was staying over an additional day. And you can tell him so for me. I think the least he could have done was phone me or send a wire.
Mrs. Burroughs.
I don't doubt he finds it attractive up there.
Mrs. Burroughs, wait a minute. He isn't here anymore. He did leave early this morning.
Early this morning? What do you mean?
Well, he took an early train. He should have been in at, now let me see, at 8:30 this morning.
8:30? Well, then where is he? Why hasn't he come?
Well, maybe he went directly to his office.
Oh, no, I called his office. They haven't heard from him. You see, that's why I'm calling you. Oh, I don't understand all this. It does seem that Marsh would at least get in touch with
Marsh?
me.
Well, Marsh is still here, Mrs. Burroughs.
Marsh is still there?
Yes.
He went off without Marsh? Oh, now I know there's something wrong. Why, he's never done that before.
Please, Mrs. Burroughs, I'm sure there's nothing wrong. He's just, well, I'd better let you talk to Marsh.
Well, yes, please get him.
Mr. Marsh, Mrs. Burroughs is on the phone. She wants to talk to you. Better take the extension in the front room.
All right.
She's very upset. We have to calm her. Hello, Mrs. Burroughs. Marsh is coming.
Oh, something's wrong. I know it.
Hello, Mrs. Burroughs.
Oh, Marsh, is that you?
Yes?
Marsh, did you know Mr. Burroughs was going to leave?
No, he didn't say anything to me.
Well, Mrs. Blaine says he's left. Should have been here, and he isn't.
Well, I don't...
He probably was just delayed.
Oh, no. Something's happened. Charles, Marsh, he had that important package in his inside pocket.
He did?
Yes. Oh, I don't know what to do. Shall I call the police?
The police? Well, that's not necessary.
Mrs. Blaine's right. Let me take care of it. I'll wait a few hours, and if he hasn't shown up by then...
All right. Do what you think best.
Hello? She hung up, Mrs. Blaine.
Important package. The $2,500. The $2,500 Gil got. Oh, Gil. That was Mrs. Burroughs. She was awfully upset.
Well, Burroughs didn't show up. She wants me to call the police.
The police?
Oh, now, wait a minute. You don't have to call the police.
Well, why shouldn't I call the police? After all, Mr. Burroughs is missing.
Oh, he may show up yet.
Certainly, he may show up yet.
Carmen's right. You don't have to call the police now.
And why don't you want the police?
Well, why...
There's something strange here, all right. Why didn't Mr. Burroughs say a word to me about leaving?
Well, you were asleep. I guess you didn't want to waken me.
Oh, I've never known him to be considerate in my life.
I suppose he knew what he was doing.
I'm not so sure.
What do you mean?
Well, if he knew what he was doing, why did he leave his return ticket on the dresser?
A strange silence fell over the entire group. Marsh was suspicious. Soon he would call the police. And I had a strong feeling that Gil knew more about this than he let on. After breakfast, the group broke up, and I stayed to help Leona clear the table, and I saw Gil and Carmen walk out on the porch together.
Cigarette, Gil? Yeah, thanks.
Here. Fine morning.
Listen, you didn't ask me out here to speak about the weather.
No, I didn't. I want the money you owe me.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
It was due long ago. With the interest, it adds up to $2,500.
I can't pay you now.
Why not? You said you'd pay it today.
Well, it's not that I haven't got it.
It's what?
Well, everything's so mixed up now. You know.
You mean Burroughs' disappearance?
Look, give me another 24 hours.
I'd like to, Gil, but...
Gil.
Here comes Jackie.
All right, 24 hours and no more.
I'm sorry if I'm interrupting something important.
Oh, no. We were just talking about the weather.
It is lovely, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, I better get up to the golf course. Oh, say, Gil, could you lend me the car to drive up? It's pretty far, and I'll do plenty of walking when I get there.
Well, as a matter of fact, Carmen, I'm going to use it myself.
Oh. Well, in that case, I'd better start walking. So long.
Goodbye. He was after the money, wasn't he?
Yeah, but I didn't give it to him.
Why not? Mr. Burroughs gave it to you, and we do owe it to Carmen.
Can't you leave me alone for a minute?
Say, you two, why the frown?
Hello, Miss Robles.
I don't want to interrupt a private fight, so I'll state my business quickly. How about lending me the car, Gil? I want to drive
I'm sorry, Miss Robles, but I need it. I'm driving into town, and right now.
Gil drove off. The rest of the day went by in a haze. Gil didn't come back. He stayed away all day without even phoning me. He had never done that before. It almost seemed as though he avoided me intentionally. Toward evening, as I was putting the finishing touches on dinner, Leona came up to me.
There's a man here to see you, Miss Blaine.
Where is he?
In the front room.
Well, who is it?
Somebody I ain't never seen before.
All right, I'll talk to him. You look after things here, Leona.
Yes, I will.
Good evening.
My name's Ward.
I'm Mrs. Blaine. You wanted to see me?
I wanted to have a few words with Mr. Blaine.
Oh, I see. What was it about?
You know what it's about. It's about Burroughs. His office sent me down.
Mr. Burroughs? What about him?
He was a guest here, wasn't he?
Yes.
When did he leave?
Last night, my husband drove him to the station.
Really? How interesting.
What do you mean?
We happen to know that he never got on that train.
Oh.
I thought maybe your husband could tell me a few things I'd like to know.
I'll see if he's here.
Just a moment. I'd also like to see some of the other guests.
Well, I'm sorry, but nobody's here just now. Miss Robles is out walking, and Mr. Carmen hasn't...
Carmen? The short, fat Italian?
Why, yes. How did you know?
Mr. Burroughs always ran into him before. Now I'd like to see your husband.
Please sit down. I'll see if I can find him.
Thank you.
Leona.
Yes, Miss Blaine?
Has Mr. Gill come back yet?
Oh, no, ma'am. I ain't seen him since he drove off this morning.
I see. Well, tell the gentleman to wait. I'm going out on the veranda. I went out on the veranda. Up and down the length of the porch and back again I walked, my eyes glued to the dark highway that ran past the house, hoping against hope that Gil would show up before the detective came looking for me. Gil had the $2,500 on him, Burroughs' cash, that important package Mrs. Burroughs spoke of to Marsh. I had to see Gil first, and suddenly I saw a car speeding down the road. Gil's car. I could tell by the one dim headlight. It tore through the dark at top speed. Then swerved through our gate and into the garage. I was about to run down the steps when Another pair of headlights split the gloom of the highway. As the car came on, I recognized the taxi from town. A figure climbed out quickly. Gil!
Jackie, did you see the car?
Our car? Yes, Gil. It went toward the garage.
Who was driving it?
Well, I couldn't see. What is it, Gil? Are you in...
No time to talk. No time to talk.
Where are you going?
The garage.
I'm coming with you.
The doors are closed. There. Nobody here.
Anyone in the car?
No. Whoever it was, beat it. Oh. I'd like to know who it was.
Gil, I don't understand what this is all about.
Well, frankly, I don't either. I was parked in front of the store in town. I came out and saw somebody hop in my car and drive off like mad.
Oh, that's odd.
I don't know what he was after, but I don't think he got it. I chased the car all the way here in the taxi.
I saw it coming down the road. I thought it was you.
Well, let's go back to the house.
Gil.
Yes?
Gil, there's somebody here to see you, a man named Ward.
Ward? Who's he? What does he want?
He wants to talk to you about Burroughs. He's a detective.
Oh.
And, you'd better let me have the wallet with the money, just to be on the safe side.
Now, look, I don't want you mixed up in anything.
Well, I'll be all right. Please, give it to me.
Well, okay.
Now you'll have to go in and talk to him.
Yeah, I suppose so.
I went up to my room and lay there in the dark, trying to distinguish the murmur of voices from below. But all I could hear was a blur of sound.
I got the 25,000.
Something's happened.
The next time it'll be too bad for him.
He made a pass at me.
He left in a hurry. Let me alone. Why don't you want the police? Why don't you want the police? Why don't you want the police?
Jackie? You awake?
Yes. Here, sit down, Gil. You look tired.
Yeah, I am. Very.
What did Ward say?
Not much, but I know he's suspicious. He's going to stay tonight.
Oh.
Well, let's get to bed. I'm tired. Oh, by the way, did you see the key to the rumble seat?
The key to the rumble seat? Oh, no.
Must have lost it. Good night.
Gil, you've never told me. You've never told me one way or the other. Gil, you've got to tell me.
All right. All right, Jackie. I will. Burroughs never gave me the 2,500. He refused me. We quarreled, and I was mad. I suppose he was afraid of me, afraid of what I might do to him. Anyway, that's why he left so suddenly. Made me drive him to the station.
Did you see him get on the train?
No, I left him at the station. Left my car there and walked down the street. I was sore. I had to think. I heard the train come and go. And when I went back, Burroughs was gone. I got in the car and drove home.
And the 2,500?
Well, I lied when he said he had that cash.
Then where did you get it?
Remember the $25 check I cashed for him?
Yes?
I added 2 zeros after the 25.
Oh, Gil.
I wrote in the word 100. There was a space for it made to order. Then I cashed it.
Gil.
Oh, I know I'm low, Jackie, but I didn't kill him. I didn't.
Then what became of him? Where is he?
I don't know. I wish I did.
What's that?
Somebody's out there. Whoever it is trying to open the garage door.
I can't see who it is. It's not a woman. Not Miss Robles. I can see that much.
It could be Carmen.
What are you doing in that drawer?
Just getting this gun. Now, quiet.
No, Gil. Give me that gun. You can't shoot anybody in the dark like that.
Please, Jackie.
I'm going to turn on the lights.
Don't, Jackie.
Yes, Gil.
Oh, he's running away. Gone.
Who was it?
I couldn't see. Could you?
No, Gil.
Well, now it just means waiting until the next time. Oh, Jackie, what am I going to do?
I don't know, dear, but we'll get out of it somehow.
How? I'm all mixed up.
There's one clear thing. Somebody is awfully interested in that car. I lay awake until the sun was up. Then a shallow, feverish sleep came. And when I awoke, it was almost evening. Gil's bed was empty. There were the indistinct sounds of life in the house below. I rose, and as my mind cleared, my words of the night before broke through the edges of my consciousness. There's one clear thing. Somebody is awfully interested in that car. I dressed slowly. A tantalizing thought hovered just beyond my grasp. The car. What was there about the car? I slowly walked down the hallway, my eyes half closed, thinking I had to talk to Gil. Leona?
Yes, sir?
Where's Mr. Gill?
Well, he done went to town with Mr. Ward.
You went with Ward?
Yes, and right after breakfast. Mr. Carmen gave him a lift down and...
Carmen?
Yes, but Mr. Gill, he done left you this note.
Oh, let me see it. Jackie, I've gone downtown with Ward. I'm going to tell him about the check. And whatever happens will have to happen. No, Gil. No, Gil, no.
Miss Jacqueline.
Leon, I've got to stop him. I'm going to drive to town. I've got to get there before Gil.
Mrs. Blaine. Mrs. Blaine, where are you going?
I'm going to town, Mr. Marsh.
Oh, may I come along?
Well, I suppose so. Hurry up and get in.
Getting dark.
Yes. I hope you don't mind me driving so fast. I'm in a terrible hurry.
No. Pull down the next side road.
What?
I said pull down the next side road.
A gun?
Yes, a gun. Now do as I say. There's something in this car I want.
I won't. I must get to Gil. Let go of that wheel. Let go of that wheel.
I said there's something here I want.
There's a car coming. Let go. Let go! Ah! Ah! I tried to move. Miraculously, we were alive. The other car had careened beyond us up the road. I saw that the side was smashed in. Then I heard Marsh's voice.
I ought to kill you for this. That was a police car. Keep your mouth shut. Here he comes now. Now remember, there's a gun pointing at your back.
Hey, you maniacs. What's the idea? Trying to kill somebody?
Oh, sorry, officer. We had a little trouble with the steering wheel.
Well, you won't have any more trouble with it. This is the end of your license.
Oh, see here, officer. I'm in a terrible hurry. If you let me drive to the station...
Wait a minute, buddy. Let's have your names. What's yours? Come on.
Marsh. Charles Marsh.
Charles Marsh. What's yours, lady?
Mrs. Gilbert Blaine.
Yeah. And yours? Well, come on. What's yours? What's your name?
Who are you talking to?
That guy in the rumble seat.
The rumble seat?
Mr. Burroughs.
Oh, it's Burroughs, is it? Well, why don't you say so? Hey, what are you, a wise guy sitting there like a mummy? Come on, answer me, will you? Hey, wait a minute. This guy's dead.
You did this. The rumble seat flew open when we crashed.
Officer, he's got a gun. He murdered that man.
I'm warning you. Keep back or I'll... Oh!
That takes care of him. You're all right now, sister.
Yes. I'm all right now.
Well, that job's finished. Nothing left for me to do but go back to town.
So it was Marsh after all.
Yeah.
I don't understand why.
He was contemplating a change from secretary to husband. Naturally, with Mr. Burroughs dead, Mrs. Burroughs would inherit all the money.
I see.
Marsh followed Gil and Mr. Burroughs that night to the station. When Gil was gone, he killed Burroughs, stuffing him into the rumble seat, locked it, and kept the key.
Well, the thing I don't understand is why Marsh kept fiddling with the car. What was it that he wanted? Seems to me he was in the clear if he left well enough alone.
Uh-huh. That's what tripped him up. Remember when he talked to Mrs. Burroughs on the phone? They said something about an important package?
Well, yes. I assumed it to be the $2,500 Gil told me about.
But of course it wasn't. There was a package of letters that Mr. Burroughs had gotten hold of.
I get it. Those letters were written by Marsh to Mrs. Burroughs.
Right.
And they would incriminate him. He found out about them after the murder.
Right again.
Oh.
He had to get them to make it perfect. Well, I guess I'll shove off. So long, and thanks. Oh, by the way, you may want to deposit, say $2,500 to Mr. Burroughs' account.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Thanks.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Jackie?
Yes?
Our debts, there's still $2,500 that have to come from somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
We went a long way around to get right back where we started from. We come through all that trouble and end up broke.
Yes, darling. That's the way it ends.
And so closes the story called Last Night, starring Margot and Kent Smith. Tonight's tale of suspense. This is your narrator, the Man in Black, who conveys to you Columbia's invitation to spend this half hour in suspense with us again next Tuesday, when John Sutton and George Zucco will star in the suspense play by John Dixon Carr called The Man Without a Body. The producer of these broadcasts is William Spear, who with Ted Bliss, the director, Lud Gluskin, and Lucien Mahowick, conductor and composer, and Cornell Woolrich, the author, collaborated on tonight's Suspense.
This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Our next broadcast brings together everything that was good about old-time radio rolled into one. The title itself almost sums up the very essence of what radio drama is all about. Each of the episodes was a microdrama, carefully planned to capture the listener's attention. Over 200 episodes were made, and almost all of them are as good today as they were over half a century ago. For the first few years the series was on air, the announcement at the start of the show varied almost every week, but by the 1950s, it had settled down to be the now famous Tired of the everyday grind? Ever dream of a life of romantic adventure? Want to get away from it all? We offer you Escape on HOJO Radio.
Had a hard day at the office? Backache from bending over a hot stove all day? Want to get away from it all? We offer you Escape. It is midnight, and you are alone. Suddenly the room is plunged into darkness. You sit frozen with terror, because something is there behind you. Something you feared would come. Something from which you must escape.
Escape, produced and directed by William N. Robeson, and carefully plotted to free you from the four walls of today for a half hour of high adventure.
Tonight, we escape to London and a world made strange and terrifying by the workings of an ancient barbaric curse, as Montague R. James tells it in his weird story, Casting the Runes.
My name is Edward Dunning. I'm a scientist. I'm used to dealing with facts, not fairy tales. I'm regarded as Britain's leading authority on medieval life. And as such, I've studied much of the ancient fears and barbaric superstitions of those times. I should have been the first to scoff at any suggestion that the ancient powers of evil, the black magic of Teutonic days, could be believed and practiced in the 20th century. A few weeks ago, I should have laughed had you told me that a curse, a hex, could kill a man. Today, I cannot laugh. It has happened to a man I know of. And now, it's happening to me. My first presentiment of danger came on that day a few weeks ago when I dropped in to see Alfred Smythe, Secretary of the National Science Association, and found him in a state of irritation.
After it all, Dunning, I almost wish you hadn't been so brutally honest in your report on that Carswell paper.
Why? What's the trouble?
Oh, he's such a frightful fellow. He's raising a terrible row.
You mean Carswell himself?
Yes, it's bad enough a vicious charlatan like that calling himself a scientist. But now he's taking all his vindictiveness out on me.
Sorry, old chap. It's really me he'd like to get at.
As a matter of fact, that's just what his last letter was about. He wants to know what supposed authority wrote the report rejecting his paper.
You didn't give him my name?
Heavens, no. As a matter of fact, Dunning, I haven't and I won't, and for a very special reason. Call it silly, call it crazy, call it what you will. I have an uncanny feeling about that man Carswell.
Why?
Do you know anything about him?
Nothing. I've never seen him. I only know that he wrote a paper called The Truth of Alchemy. It was hopeless.
Precisely. And why was it hopeless?
Well, besides being abominably written, it was supposed to prove that alchemy, black magic, and such rot actually exists. I think the man really believes it.
Undoubtedly he does, and that's what I mean. He lives in an isolated old house in Warwickshire. He's rarely seen elsewhere, and in his whole career he's written only two things. This paper and a history of witchcraft published 10 years ago.
Yes, of course. I remember now. So that's the man.
Yes, and that book was even worse than this paper. The man has a warped mind. I'm sure he's tried every unhealthy experiment in alchemy, witchcraft, and black magic. There's no telling to what lengths of vindictiveness a man like that might go.
Well, it does sound a bit queer, but...
Not queer, Dunning. Evil.
Oh, come. Man has a right to believe what he likes. He has a right to be angry with me. Here I've glibly scoffed at the man's life's work.
Well, perhaps I'm being overly suspicious and imaginative, but I think there's more than anger involved here, Edward. This may sound fantastic to you, but, well, John Harrington wrote the report condemning that witchcraft book of Carswell's 10 years ago. 3 months later, Harrington was dead.
But, Alfred, what's the connection?
Harrington died under very peculiar circumstances. He was walking home alone late one night, and suddenly he screamed, broke into a run, lost his hat and stick, and climbed up a tree. A dead branch gave way. He fell and broke his neck. No one's ever been able to explain why it happened.
Come now, Alfred, surely you're not suggesting...
Well, I don't know what I'm suggesting. I only know that after he reviewed Carswell's book, John Harrington didn't have a moment's peace. Now you've written an unfavorable review of this paper. If I were you, I should keep that fact well hidden.
Oh, Alfred. Well, that's ridiculous. Yes, I laughed at Alfred Smythe's fear. How could I have known then that I was to feel the same terror, the same agonized fear which gripped the heart of John Harrington as he crouched, panting on the branch of a tree, for another moment or two of life, while beneath him the thing came closer and closer. I'd almost forgotten the incident when, a few nights later, I was riding home on a late train. I was half drowsing in my seat, barely keeping awake by looking idly at the car card advertisement. The man directly opposite me must have been doing the same. For suddenly I heard him say,
"Here now, what can that one be advertising?"
I followed his eyes to the window beside my head. What I saw brought me bolt upright in my feet.
In memory of John Harrington, died September 18th, 1937, by falling from a tree. 3 months were allowed. Blimey, what do you say that means, sir?
Well, I don't know. But I did know. Smythe had been right. The affair with Carswell was not over, but only begun. I asked the conductor about the card, but he was as puzzled as I was. He had never seen it before. The card must have been put there expressly for me. That meant that Carswell knew it was I who had reviewed his paper. How had he found out? I got the answer the next day. I was in the select manuscript department of the British Museum doing some research in the quiet, almost deserted room. I'd been working steadily for an hour, oblivious to my surroundings, when suddenly, just at my shoulder, I heard a voice.
Edward Dunning, you are allowed 3 months.
I swung around in my seat. There was no one within 20 feet of me. I sat for a moment, shaken, and then I stooped to pick up the papers I had brushed to the floor. I straightened up to find a stout, elderly gentleman standing in front of me.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes?
May I give you this paper? I think it should be yours.
Oh, yes, so it is. I thought I had them all.
This one seemed to have slid across the floor.
Thank you very much.
Not at all, sir. Good afternoon.
He walked slowly away and out of the door. A kindly, stout old gentleman. But there was something about him that made me feel strange. I went over to the attendant.
Yes, Mr. Dunning?
Did you notice that gentleman I was just speaking to?
Oh, yes, of course.
Can you tell me his name?
Why, that's Mr. Carswell. As a matter of fact, he was asking about you only the other day.
Asking about me?
Well, he asked who were the great authorities on medieval science. Of course, I told him you were the only one in the country.
Oh, I see.
Would you like to meet him, Mr. Dunning? I'll see if I can...
No. No, thank you. It was as simple as that. Now Carswell knew. What would be his next move? What was I to expect? I reached home at dusk, and trouble stood on my doorstep in the long face and stooped form of my family doctor.
I had to upset your household arrangements, I'm sorry to say, Dunning. I've had to send both your servants to hospital.
But what happened?
Something like ptomaine poisoning, I should think. It's nothing serious.
Well, what could have caused it?
Well, that's the rather odd thing. They tell me they bought some shellfish from a hawker and had it for lunch. I've made inquiries, but I can't find that a hawker called at any other house on this street.
Was this the next move? If so, it had succeeded. I was alone in the house, and my nervousness increased as darkness closed in and the hours advanced toward midnight. I went to bed, but almost immediately I thought I heard something. My study door opening downstairs. I went out and leaned over the banister. There was nothing moving, nothing visible. There was only a sudden, surprising gust of warm air playing about my legs. I went back into my room and locked the door. Suddenly, the lights went out. No doubt it was only a blown fuse, but the chills were playing up and down my spine. I went over to the bed and reached for my watch under the pillow. I suppose I wanted to find out the time. I don't know why. But fumbling on the pillow, my hand touched something far different from a watch. It was like a mouth with sharp teeth and hair around it, not human at all. I fled to my bedroom and spent a long and miserable night locked in the spare room, my ear to the door. But nothing came. I was not disturbed again. In the morning, I searched the house and found nothing unusual. But the mark of fear must have been stamped on my face, for Smythe noticed it next day.
Dunning, you look as if you hadn't slept for weeks. Is anything wrong?
I don't know, Alfred. Yes, there is. Carswell knows.
How?
They told him at the museum.
Of course, we should have thought of that. Has anything happened yet?
I don't know. Too fantastic. It's probably my mind, hypnotic suggestion or something, but like that man Harrington, I have 3 months left.
Edward.
Must have been hearing things. I'm all on edge. I don't know what to think.
John Harrington had a brother, Henry. Perhaps I'd better get you in touch with him. He might know more about this man, Carswell.
Yes, do it. And quickly. 3 months is not a lot of time. night, I found myself walking down the dark street that led from the railway station to the Harrington home. It must have been along this same street that John Harrington had walked that last night. Where he had broke and run. It must have been one of these trees bordering the lonely road in which he had spent his last horrible moments. The way was dark, and there was no living soul in sight. And suddenly, complete terror gripped me. Somehow I knew that I was being followed. At first I only felt it, and then I heard it. I walked steadily on for a moment, my stomach like ice. It was getting louder, coming closer. Unconsciously, my step quickened. I could barely control myself. I wanted to scream and run. The thing came closer and closer. I confess, I broke and ran madly for my life. I was at a little side street. I turned down it, doubling back toward the railway station. I thought I would never make it. But finally, bright lights loomed before my eyes, and I think that I never have been so grateful for human companionship.
There's no need to run, sir. The 840 won't be along for another 5 minutes.
I felt very foolish. I couldn't bring myself to walk back down that street to Harrington's. I could only take the train home furtively and call Harrington next morning to beg his forgiveness. He seemed very understanding and asked no questions. Undoubtedly, Smythe had told him something about me. At any rate, he agreed to visit me at a place 2 nights later. And when he arrived and was made welcome, he began to talk about his brother.
Yes, Mr. Dunning. John was in a very bad state for weeks before the accident. If that's what it was. The principal thing seemed to be the notion that he was being followed. It became an obsession.
Yes, I know. I don't think his death was an accident.
Then perhaps you can explain it?
No. But I have one clue. Your brother reviewed a book very severely not long before he died. Just lately, I happened to cross the path of the man who wrote that book.
And his name, of course, is Carswell.
That's right.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, that does it. Before he died, John was beginning to feel, much against his will, that Carswell was at the bottom of his trouble.
Why?
Well, it doesn't make sense.
None of this does. But tell me.
My brother liked music. He went to all the concerts in town, and he made a hobby of collecting the program. One night, about 3 months before his death, he brought one home and showed it to me. I nearly missed this one, he said. It seems he'd lost his and was hunting for it under his seat, when a neighbor, a rather stout elderly gentleman, offered to give John his.
The kind gentleman was Mr. Carswell.
Undoubtedly. I started to leaf through the program and noticed on the second page some rather curious letters, carefully written there in black and red ink. Neither of us could make much of it, except that the letters seemed to be runic.
Runes. Runes, of course.
So John thought it might be important, and debated whether he shouldn't try to return the program to the stout gentleman. But just then the door blew open, and a gust of air, a strangely warm air, blew into the room. In a flash, it took the program and blew it straight into the fire.
Yes, your brother was right. He should have returned it.
There was nothing to be done then.
No, perhaps not. But do you know what runic letters mean?
Well, they're old pre-Druid script, I believe. The kind of writing the barbaric tribes used long before the Romans invaded Britain.
Yes, that's right. Casting the runes, they used to call it in the old days. Casting the runes.
What do you mean?
Well, it was a curse, a hex. In primitive England, people thought by casting the runes, that is, handing a person a piece of paper with certain runic letters on it, that could put that person out of the way, destroy him. It's an old superstition. And the only way to lift the curse was to return the paper to the one who gave it to him. To give it back without his knowing it.
Well, I don't believe that kind of nonsense.
Neither do I.
Then what was it that killed John?
I don't know. Perhaps his fear of the runes, perhaps brooding about it, becoming neurotic, thinking he saw things and heard things and touched things that weren't there. Perhaps his own mind drove him to death.
And what's the difference once you're dead?
No difference at all.
Casting the rune. Oh, rubbish.
Yes, of course, but... Good heavens.
What is it?
I just remembered that day at the British Museum. He cast the runes on me. I went swiftly to the writing table, Harrington close behind me. My portfolio was there, full of the scribbled notes I'd been working on that day in the museum. And as I took it in my shaking hand and began leaping desperately through them, one strip of thin, light paper slipped and fluttered toward the open window with uncanny quickness. But Harrington was even quicker and slammed the window shut just in time.
Got it?
Oh, thank heaven. If it were lost or destroyed, like your brother...
Then you wouldn't be able to return it to Mr. Carswell. Yes. Look at it. It's identical with the one John got.
I looked at the flimsy paper. The characters, carefully traced in red and black, were runes, all right. That ancient language used by the Aborigines of prehistoric Britain. I couldn't decipher them. But as Harrington and I stood looking into each other's eyes, each of us could read the other's thoughts. Science or not, 20th century or not, this sheet of foolscap spells death for its possessor.
It spells death for you.
Must be returned.
Yes, I know.
It must go back in such a way that it doesn't... If he doesn't know he's received it, that means we can't simply mail it.
No, we can't.
We must do it personally. That'll take doing.
Well, he knows you by sight, doesn't he?
Yes.
You must shave your beard. It'll alter your appearance. He might strike any time.
I have 3 months. That's what the warning said.
He's got to make good on his stunning. I've searched 10 years for my brother's murderer, and now he must not escape.
I dare not go near Carswell, so Harrington volunteered to keep a watch on him, to let me know when our chance came to return the runes, if it was ever to come. It was only a night or two after Harrington was there that I arrived home and found the calendar had come in the mail. When I examined it, I found everything after November 19th had been torn out. The next night, I had another envelope of the mail. This time it was a woodcut, an illustration torn out of a book, showing a dark, moonlit road and a man walking on it. And right behind him came a huge, dark shape, some awful demon creature. Under it were written some lines from the Ancient Mariner, and as I sat alone and read them aloud, I felt that now familiar gust of warm air playing about my legs. The man walks on and turns no more his head, because he knows a frightful fiend doth close behind him tread. Now I knew the face of my terror, and it was with me always. Walking down the dark street at night, I heard its footsteps behind me. In my lonely house at midnight, it roamed the halls. Like the Ancient Mariner and John Harrington, I never turned to look. I couldn't. My nerves were going, and I could do nothing but wait. The days, the weeks slipped by, and still Harrington had no plan. I checked off the days on the calendar Carswell had sent. Now there were 8 days remaining, then 6, then 3, 2, 1. It was the evening of the 18th. My last day on Earth was to begin at midnight. I was sitting alone in my living room, bathed in perspiration, fighting to keep my nerves in check. Suddenly, I felt that warm gust of air. I listened. There were soft footsteps. A shadow seemed to cross the hall door. And then the footsteps blended into a loud bang.
No, not yet. I still got 1 day more. Not yet.
Johnny, it's me.
Oh, thank heaven. Harry.
What's the matter, man? What is it?
It was you knocking on the door. Your footsteps.
Yes, of course.
Oh, thank heaven. I thought...
Look, man, you've got to pull yourself together. It's tonight we have our chance.
What chance?
Carswell leaves Victoria Station by boat train tonight at 10. I'll get on with him there. You take the car I brought and drive to Croydon. Get on the train there. And be sure to bring the paper.
Yes, I have it.
You've shaved already. Good. Everything depends on his not recognizing you.
Mr. Harrington. Suppose he changes his mind. Suppose he doesn't take that trip. My time runs out tomorrow.
He'll be there, and you'll do it. You'll do it well. You've got to.
I stood on the platform at Croydon, my mind in a daze. I thought the train would never come, but it did. I saw Harrington at the window. He stared coolly at me. Of course, there was to be no sign of recognition. I entered the coach and slowly made my way down the aisle to the compartment where Harrington sat. Opposite him, staring full into my face, was Carswell. He looked up as I sat down. His eyes were heavy-lidded, his face bland. It was impossible to tell whether he knew. The train started. The next stop was Dover, the end of the line. My last chance. It was time to cast the rune. It was a strange life. Carswell and I seated face to face, staring into each other's eyes. Harrington off to the side, pulling at his face with twitching fingers. If I could have only had a few whispered moments with him to plan our strategy, but that was impossible. Moments dragged tortuously. No one moved. Then suddenly Carswell leaned forward.
I beg your pardon, sir. Haven't we met?
Met? Well, I don't think so, sir. Not unless you're in the plumbing business.
Plumbing? No. Hardly.
I hadn't planned it that way. The words, the accent just seemed to come by themselves. And Carswell sat back, an enigmatic expression on his face. I wished desperately to know what he was thinking. Then suddenly he got up and went out into the corridor. It was my chance. I was about to slip over to his bag to see if there were a way to secrete the rooms within them, when I caught Harrington's eye and read a warning in them. Carswell from the corridor was watching, waiting to see if we recognized each other. I muttered a prayer of thanks I hadn't moved. Carswell came back and took his seat. As he did so, wild, exultant hope surged up in my throat. For something slipped off his feet and dropped noiselessly to the floor. It was his ticket case, and he didn't see it. It was a small cardboard ticket case with a pocket on the cover. If I could just get to it and slip that tiny piece of paper into that pocket. For 15 agonizing minutes, I sat there and stared at it. If only Carswell would go out. But he sat stolidly staring straight ahead. We were coming into the outskirts of Dover, the train slowing down. Suddenly, Harrington stood up, reached up to the rack above Carswell to get his coat and bag. I stared at him blankly for a moment, surprised by his sudden clumsiness. And then I realized what he was up to. The bag, the coat, the briefcase all came tumbling down upon Carswell.
What the devil?
Oh, I say I'm sorry. I'm terribly sorry.
Clumsy fool, you might have injured me. What were you trying to do?
Well, it was my only chance. Carswell stood facing Harrington. I reached down, got the ticket case, and with trembling fingers slid the paper into the pocket. He turned sharply to me, and I extended the case toward him.
Excuse me, sir. Is this yours? Yes, it's my ticket case. Where'd you find it? Here on the floor. Must have dropped off when... Yes. I'm much obliged to you, sir. Not at all. Not at all.
He looked at me fiercely, his rage at Harrington still twisting his face into a devil's mask. Then he glanced briefly into the ticket case and put it into his pocket. On the railway pier at Dover, Harrington and I followed a few steps behind Carswell. I felt like I might faint. Carswell went straight to the gangway of the boat, and there the purser stopped him.
Sir, does your friend have a ticket? My friend? What the devil do you mean? I'm traveling alone. Well, that's funny. I could have sworn there was another gentleman right there beside you, walking just at your elbow. Well, there isn't. And I suggest you see an oculist. Oh, I didn't see. I just felt. Sorry, sir. Must have been your rug. My mistake.
Come on, Danny. Our job's done.
I didn't sleep that night. I lay awake and listened. But there were no footsteps, no warm gusts of air, nothing to disturb me. All day I felt remarkably free. although this was to have been my last day on Earth. But only just now, when Harrington came in, could I really relax.
Mr. Jennings, have you seen the afternoon paper yet?
I know. Not yet.
Well, here. Look at it. On the second page. There.
Abbeville, France. An English traveler examining the front of St. Wolfram's Cathedral today was struck on the head and killed instantly by a stone falling from the scaffolding. A note of mystery was added by the fact that although the cathedral was undergoing repairs, no workman was on the scaffolding at the time of the accident. The traveler was identified by papers found on him as a Mr. Carswell of Warwickshire.
Of course. It could have been an accident.
Yes. Yes, it could have been.
Escape is produced and directed by William N. Robeson, and tonight brought you Casting the Runes by Montague R. James, adapted for radio by Irving Ravitch and John Dunkel, with John McIntyre as Edward Dunning, Jan Wolfe as Harrington, and Bill Conrad as Carswell. The special musical score was conceived and conducted by Cy Shure. Next week,
you are trapped in a hidden valley, high in the Andes, walled in by sheer rock precipices, and surrounding you, closing in on you, is a band of blind men who want your eyes.
next week we escape with H.G. Wells' gripping story, The Country of the Blind. Good night, then, until this same time next week when we again offer you Escape. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Keep it tuned right here to HOJO Radio for more classic old-time radio.
Of the everyday routine? Ever dream of a life of romantic adventure? Want to get away from it all? We offer you Escape, starring Edmund O'Brien. Escape, designed to free you from the four walls of today for a half hour of high adventure. You are trapped in a remote valley of the Andes, walled in by sheer rock precipices, and surrounding you, closing in on you, is a band of blind men who want your eyes. Today, with Edmund O'Brien as Nunez, we escape to the mountains of Ecuador and to a remarkable world where sight is unknown, as H.G. Wells imagined it in his gripping story, The Country of the Blind. My name is Ibarra. I'm a mining engineer in Quito, Ecuador, high in the towering Andes. Up until a year ago, my chief sport was mountain climbing. My last climb was an attempt to scale the remote and forbidding peak of Periscopetal, a 20,000-foot crag unconquered by man. It is unconquered still. 3,000 feet from the icy summit, we came back and fed for our lives. All of us escaped except one, a guide named Nunez, who slipped over the frightful precipice and disappeared in the vast chasm yawning 10,000 feet beneath it. The horror of that man's fall has terrorized my dreams for a year. Because of it, I've forsaken mountain climbing for the rest of my life. And that decision still stands, even though today I have seen Nunez. He was sitting on the steps at my shack when I arrived at the mine this morning. At first, I didn't recognize him. He was so much changed. I thought he was some ragged beggar. Is it you Senor Ibarra? My name is Ibarra, yes. What do you want? You do not know me, senor? No, you look like a man I knew once, but he's dead. Dead on the slopes of the Palace Cotopetu? Nunez. That is my name, senor. At least, that is the name I remember. But you fell. I saw you. Yes. It's impossible that you could have lived. Perhaps the gods of the mountains had some reason to spare me. If we had any idea that you were alive, but you went down thousands of feet. We couldn't even attempt to find your body. I know. I do not blame you. You could not have reached me. And if you had, I should not have welcomed you. At first. But then, later... What do you mean? Senor, you will not believe what I have to tell. I can hardly believe I'm seeing you and talking to you. Tell me what happened to you. You remember that night? The night I fell? We had been toiling all day, inching our way up a steep ice wall. And as darkness came, we found a narrow ledge, barely 3 feet wide. Wide, but we can get our shelter wall up and call some of us in. That'll be welcome. Yes, but first we will rest a moment. Look at that icy devil up there, glistening in the moonlight. There's another 3,000 feet of sheer ice wall. We'll have to cut our own holes from now on. There won't even be ledges like this, resting places. See why no one's ever made it. You think we ought to go on? I don't know. Nunez, what do you think? It is not my place to say, senor. I was hired to go to the top. I agree. But what do you really think? If I believed in the gods of the mountain as the Indians do, I should be frightened now. Why? Because we have invaded the Forbidden Circle. This part of the Andes is unmapped and almost unknown, senor. It is an easy thing to believe strange things in this white loneliness. Some of the legends are fascinating. I've heard of one, something about a hidden valley called the Country of the Blind. Yes, it's supposed to be somewhere down there, see? Far below it. A fertile valley which was settled many centuries ago and then cut off by the great landslide of the rock. But why the Country of the Blind? Well, even before it was cut off, the people developed a strange illness. All of them slowly went blind. After that, their children were born blind. The legend is that the valley was the home of the mountain gods. It was too beautiful for human eyes. Odd. But then it's all nonsense. Oh, yes, it's nonsense. It would be pleasant to find it, though. You know the old proverb, in the country of the blind, the one-eyed man is king. I doubt that we should ever find it. I even doubt that it exists. Of course not. I was only joking. Of course. Well, now if we're rested, we'll make the shelter wall, eh? Right. I'll give you a hand in a minute. Believe me, Ibarra, the two cases they give up this time. They never realize... I'm slipping! My foot slipped on the treacherous ledge and I had gone over. I slid down the icy slope for perhaps 200 yards, digging frantically with my feet, with my hands, for some kind of hold. Then I went off, falling far out into the icy black night, falling down. I fell 1,000 feet, and then I felt the heavy, stinging impact of snow. I'd fallen onto an almost perpendicular slope, and once again I was sliding down, tumbling over and over. But now, around me, over me, an immense avalanche of snow was rumbling, sliding with me. Suddenly I realized that my own motion had almost stopped, and it was the snow that was moving. I was riding the avalanche. At almost the same moment, I went over the second slope. It was higher than the first, much higher, perhaps 4,000 feet. I fell with the snow go up to minutes every second, expecting this terrible final impact. The impact never came. Miracle of miracles. That sheer wall blended almost imperceptibly into another slope. And again I was sliding. Gradually, as the arc of the slope caved in, I felt myself slow down. I was whirled along on top of the avalanche, and then, as it subsided, out onto the gentler snow, upon a gentler slope, and finally, I rolled to a stop and lay still. awoke, it was morning, and I was covered with snow. I shook off the cold white blanket, rolled over on my back, and looked up. My heart almost stopped as I saw from where I had fallen. The mountain towering 10,000 feet above me. Carefully, I felt myself. My clothes were torn. I was bruised and bleeding. I ached in every muscle, but I had not broken a single bone. I lay there and offered up a prayer to the gods of the mountain. Far below me lay a lush valley sparkling in the morning sunlight. I could see the stately trees and green meadows fresh with dew. I started down, but it was still an arduous descent. The farther down I got, the more I realized the beauty of the scene. This was a hidden paradise I'd fallen into. And I was the first man ever to see it. So I thought. But I was wrong. I realized that first when I saw the cultivation in the meadows. And then the walks. Well-kept stone walks laid in a symmetrical pattern all over the valley. And then I saw them. There were men and women lying under the trees, resting nearby a collection of windowless huts marked the village. And the plastering of houses was done in a wild variety of colors. I thought to myself, the plasterer who did that must have been blind as a bat. Then I saw two of the men quite close to me. They were standing on a bridge over the little stream. They were dressed in odd, loose clothing, and there was a strange look about their faces. They failed to notice me as I approached until I shouted. Suddenly, they looked up attentively in my direction. I waved wildly at them, but they took no notice. Why, the fools must be blind. Blind? Could it be that I had fallen into the country of the blind? In the country of the blind, the one-eyed man is king. I walked towards the men by the stream, and I spoke to them. Hello! You needn't be afraid. I won't hurt you. I come in peace.
It is a man, or a spirit come down from the rocks.
I'm a man, all right, just like you, but I've had a miraculous escape, and now I find myself here in your valley.
Valley? Come hither. Let me feel of you.
Well, certainly. Here. Arm. My face? You see, I'm indeed a man, like yourself. My lips, they move with speech. My eyes... Oh. Carefully. Gently on the eyes.
Eyes? That is strange. Feel this, Correa.
Yes, I feel.
Careful. Do you feel my eyelids fluttering?
He is but imperfectly formed. Some strange bulge there. Unseemly.
No, your eyes are shrunken in, but mine are whole. I can see.
See? See. Pedro, he is a strange wild one. Where does he come from?
Down out of the rock?
No, from over the mountains, out of the country, beyond where men can see. From Bogota, where there are 100,000 people, and the city stretches out of sight.
Sight? What strange words he uses, with what meaning? And feel the coarseness of his hair, like a llama's.
Yes. And you have come into the world.
No, out of the world. The big world beyond the mountains. The world that stretches 12 days' journey to the sea.
Our fathers have told us men may be made by forces of nature. It's the warmth of things and moisture and rottenness.
Come, let us lead him to the elder.
There's no need to lead me. I can see.
See?
Yes, of course. Oh. I didn't see a water bucket.
His senses are still imperfect. He stumbles and talks meaningless words. Lead him by the hand.
But look, well, all right. These people had been blind for centuries. They had forgotten even the words associated with seeing. And they thought I was an idiot, only half formed. Especially when he led me into the pitch blackness of one of their windowless huts. and I stumbled over something.
Oh, thousand pardons, Medina Sorote. It is nothing. He is a clumsy one.
I'm sorry I fell down. I couldn't see in the darkness.
Who is this, and what is he saying? He is but newly formed. He has come down from the rocks. He stumbles as he walks and mingles words that mean nothing with his speech. He's a wild man out of the rocks.
No, I come from Bogota, over the mountain.
You hear? Bogota. He uses wild words. His mind is hardly formed. He has only the beginnings of speech. Bogota?
Yes, I come from the great world where men have eyes and see.
That must be his name, Bogota.
He stumbled twice as we came thither.
He must be taught.
Now, don't you understand? I can see, but not in the dark. To you, darkness or light, it's all the same. But to me, to us who can see, to us outside in the world beyond the mountains...
Mountains? What are mountains?
Well, very well, then, beyond the rocks.
There is nothing beyond the rocks. That is the end of the world.
Oh, but surely you must realize that the sky above covers more than this valley.
Sky above? There is nothing above but the roof of rock. He is very raw, my children. He shall have to be taught from the beginnings. Take him away, feed him. It shall be done. But guide him. See that he does not stumble over my daughter again.
Do not fear, Father. I shall guide him myself and feed him.
Very well.
Come, take my hand.
Thank you. It'll be a pleasure to get outside again out of this darkness.
Come this way.
Thank you. What is your name?
Medina Sorote.
Mine is Juan. Juan Nunez. And I... sunlight. This is better. And now You're beautiful. I cannot tell what a wonderful thing you are to see.
Please, I'm afraid for you.
Afraid?
Yes. You do not learn quickly. He's speaking such strange words. He may not be so kind to you. They might be angry. They might even destroy you.
This thought had not occurred to me before, and suddenly I had a twinge of fear. Still, the proverb kept running through my mind. In the country of the blind, a one-eyed man is king. Try as I would, I could not make them understand my wonderful gift of sight. They simply could not comprehend it. Worse, they were not impressed. They thought me stupid and untaught, almost an idiot. Day by day, I learned their peaceful ways, but they could not learn mine. It was getting on my nerves, and theirs too, perhaps.
Bogota, come hither. Bogota, you move not.
No, and I won't, you old beetle. I'll show you. I'll leave the path.
Bogota, trample not on the grass. It is not allowed.
Well, how did you know I stepped on the grass?
I heard, of course.
Heard? I didn't make a sound.
Why do you not come when I call you? Can you not hear the path as you walk?
I can see it.
There is no such word as see. Cease this folly and follow the sound of my feet.
My time will come.
You will learn. There is much to learn in the world.
Has no one ever told you, in the country of the blind, the one-eyed man is king?
Blind? What is blind?
Oh, never mind. Go on.
Bogota, I must warn you. Just keep quiet and learn. And stop this nonsense about seeing.
Nonsense, is it? Well, I'll show you. I've taken enough of your insults. Unformed mind, got no sense yet. I'll be king here. I can see and I'll be king.
Bogota, stop it.
No, I'm through with your orders. I'll show you what an advantage sight can be. I can hit you, hurt you, and you can't see me to strike back.
Bogota, there must be no violence. You must come peacefully.
By heaven, I'll hit you if you come any closer. I swear I will.
Bogota, put down that spade and come off the grass.
You don't understand. You're blind and I can see. I can see.
Now, Bogota, you must not do
I'll hurt you. I swear. Leave me alone. I hit his arm, turned and ran over the wall, outside their valley, back to the rocks, to the precipitous cliff I'd come down. But when I reached that sheer rock wall, I knew there was no place to go. For 2 days and nights I stayed outside the valley, hungry and cold, and I realized the hopelessness of my mission. I was trapped. I confess I was mad. I admit I'm only newly made.
That is better. And you still think you can see?
No, that was folly. The word means nothing, less than nothing.
And what is overhead?
Rock. There's a roof above the world, a roof of rock and very smooth.
Very well. And now...
Look, before you ask me any more, give me food or I'll die.
Very well, give him food.
Yes, Father.
And after that, the most menial tasks in the village. Guard him well, and perhaps he shall learn yet.
Thank you. That's better. You're kind, Medina Sarota, very kind.
I'm glad you came back.
You are? If they were all like you, I should never have run away.
What was that word you said I was?
Beautiful.
It means something nice.
Something very nice. Medina Sarota, why is it you have no husband?
I have a disfigurement. These long hairs.
Your eyelashes? But they're beautiful.
They're considered a disfigurement.
Why, you're the loveliest girl in the valley. But they wouldn't know, would they? And so, you have no lover?
No.
Medina Sarota, what do you think of me? Do you think of me as an idiot like all the rest?
Oh, no. You have much to learn, but you will learn, I'm sure. And you are kind and gentle, and your voice is soft. You speak the words that are soft and warm. No one has ever spoken such words to me.
I shall speak often, Medina Sarota. You are the only one in this valley, in this world, I care for. And so it began. I, the village idiot, the slave boy who dreamed to be king, I, with my eyes still whole, fell in love with Medina Sarota, the daughter of the elder of the village. Only to her could I open my heart without fear. Only to her could I speak of the beauty I could see around me. It's a beautiful valley, Medina, green with grass and yellow with sunlight and flowers, bright flowers dotting the hills. And in the cool of night, the stars gleam like diamonds in the sky.
Oh, the words sound lovely. But what are stars?
Well, they're... No, you wouldn't understand.
And what do you mean in the cool of the night? You still get that confused one. The night is warm. The day is cool.
No, it's you here who have them backwards, because the darkness means nothing to you, so you work in the cool of night and sleep in the heat of day, but...
You are teasing me.
No, I'm not. Oh, what does it matter? All that matters is you. You here beside me. Medina Sarota. I love you.
And I love you.
I know they still think me an idiot, but you listen to what I say, and you don't think me an idiot, do you?
Oh, I like to hear you speak.
Then, will you marry me?
I would be very happy.
No, I will not have it.
But, Father...
He is an idiot. He has delusions. He cannot do anything
But
right.
he is getting better. He's better than he was. And he is strong and kind. Stronger and kinder than anyone in the world. And he loves me. I love him.
No, I will not have it.
Great fire, if you please.
Yes? What is it, good doctor?
I have examined Bogota, and the case is clear to me. I think very probably he might be cured.
Ah? And how might that be done?
His brain is affected by something. I believe I know what it is. Those queer things he calls eyes. Where we have but an agreeable depression, he has great lumps. Consequently, his brain is in a constant state of irritation.
But what can be done to cure him?
It's a very simple surgical operation. To remove the cause of the irritation, we will merely cut out his eyes.
But they say it will make you well.
You don't understand, Medina Sirota. My world is sight. You wouldn't want me to lose my most precious possession.
I don't know.
Well, there are so many beautiful things to see. The flowers, the far sky with its drifting clouds, sunset, stars, and you. Just to see you, it's good to have sight. And I would never see you again.
I wish sometimes you would not talk like that.
Like what?
I know it's pretty. It's your imagination. I love it. But now...
Now? You want me to... Medina Sirota, if I were to consent to this...
Oh, if you would, if only you would.
What else can I do?
My dearest one. My dearest with a tender voice. I will repay you.
Oh, Medina.
Be brave. Carry my voice in your thoughts. No. I must go. And tomorrow...
Yes?
Tomorrow will be forever.
Goodbye. Goodbye, Medina. I suppose I knew it then when I said that. I only meant to go up on the rocks and look out over the valley, to spend my last day feasting my eyes on the wonderful, beautiful world of light and color. But when I got there, it was too beautiful, too lovely. This valley, this home of the mountain gods, beautiful and forbidden. I drank it in, the green of the fields, the blue of the gently curving stream, the orange of the lichen and the rocky crevices. Then I climbed higher to see the great snow-capped peaks towering above and away to the distant sky. And higher, as the shadows turned the snow to purple and crimson and deep blue. The valley was far below, and as beautiful as a painting. But like a painting, it looked unreal. Medina Sirota was small and far away, a distant dream, and the world of sight was here, all around, overpowering, wonderful. I turned and began to climb up that sheer rock wall. How many months it took me to make my way out over those mountains, over glaciers and snowfields and sheer precipices, I cannot guess. How I lived through the cold and the hunger of it, I cannot tell you. But I am here at last, back from the country of the blind. Good heavens, man. What an experience. Terrible, wonderful. But you're not sorry you came back. Sorry? I see her face clearly now. It's the only thing I see. Nunez, come. You need food. Here, take my hand. Thank you. Where is it, Senor Ibarra? Nunez. Yes, the gods of the mountains have had their revenge. Those months of crawling over the snow and ice with the sun glaring down, yes, I am blind.
Escape, produced and directed by Norman MacDonald, has brought you Edmund O'Brien in The Country of the Blind by H.G. Wells. The radio adaptation was by John Dunkel. Featured in the cast were Barry Kroger as Ibarra and Peggy Weber as Medina Sirota, with Harry Bartell, Byron Kane, Edgar Barrier, and Wilm Herbert. The special musical score was conducted by Leith Stevens. Next week, you are prisoner in the magnificent mountain retreat of the richest man in the world, yet in love with his beautiful daughter.
haunting you, terrifying you, is the certain knowledge that the only sure escape would be death.
Next week, Escape with F. Scott Fitzgerald. Amazing story, The Diamond as Big as the Ritz. Good night, then, until this same time next week, when once again CBS offers you Escape. Edmund O'Brien appeared through the courtesy of Warner Brothers, producers of the Michael Curtiz Technicolor production, My Dream Is Yours, starring Jack Carson and Doris Day. This is Roy Rowan speaking. In just a few moments, the laughs start rolling on CBS's great Sunday Night of Stars. In the next 2 hours, 5 of America's top comedians will unroll their newest wares. Lum and Abner, Amos and Andy, and Jack Benny. Nowhere else in radio will you find such superb and varied comedy as in this 2-hour period. Lum and Abner and Amos and Andy will be heard over most of these same CBS network stations.
Thanks for listening to HOJO Radio. We'll be back again very soon.